Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Vorpal board stream for Friday night. I hope that everyone out there in Twitchland is having a good evening. Tonight, I am very excited to welcome on the stream Wes Woodbury from Fundamental Games, and he is here going to be playing his game Legends of Novus with us tonight, which is currently on Kickstarter and crushing it. It just hit its first stretch goal, and I think it has 6-ish days. You never know when that little day counter changes, but about 6 days left. Wes, thanks so much for joining me.
Hey, it's great to be here. A pleasure to join your show here, James, and get a chance to play this game in front of everybody while answering some questions.
Yeah, this is the first Canadian stream. So I think that some of our beta testers have played with some friends in Canada, but I have never played with anybody in Canada. So we're going to do it.
So I'll make sure to use lots of pleases and thank yous and A's.
You're playing for the honor of all of Canada today against us this day after 4th of July down in the States. So
go Raptors.
Yeah, that's right. Is that kind of like a national pride thing? Is everybody really excited up in Canada about that?
It's the first time ever, so yeah, it was a big deal.
That's cool. I think that's neat. Okay, so we're going to be playing, as I said, Legends of Novus. You can see it kind of on the screen today, on your screen right now. We're going to be playing it remotely using Vorpal board. So Wes is in Canada, as I said. I'm in New York, and he's going to be interacting with the game in a web browser on his end. And what he sees is very similar to what you see here and what I see. I'm just in a web browser as well. And you can see to my left, the actual physical game is set up right here. And then there's a smartphone mounted that is running our app, which takes very high resolution photos and streams those into the web browser. And then this box right here will scan in playing cards as we're playing when I need to give cards to Wes and he needs to play them. So you'll kind of see how that works. We use this camera angle. I know it's a little awkward. I'm never really looking at the camera, but that lets you kind of see what I have going on. Okay, so let's chat a little bit about the game. You're already over 100% funded. You hit your first stretch goal today, which is to get full cardboard quest monster tiles, and we'll see the quest monsters in a little bit. Congratulations for one. And what are you looking for in the next few stretch goals? What's up next for these backers?
Yeah, thanks for the congratulations there. It's an exciting moment for some of the backers that are watching closely the campaign. So the tile quest creatures are a great tangible way and give you that hands-on feel instead of just a flimsy piece of cardboard, because those quest creatures mean a lot more in the game. But the next step will be the hidden character or new character that has never been seen in the game, and that's Jotun, the half-orc barbarian. It's a special class that can only advance to its own special class. So it would be interesting to see if we can unlock that one and share some new artwork and a new character concept with the backers. And then after that, there's an etched die for the travel die. So the one that you have on display there has stickers on the sides. And it seems like stickers are not very popular in the board game world. Alternatively, people could just use a D6 and attribute different values to the different sides. But I really want to get to that etched die stretch goal because I think that's something people would like and adds that uniqueness to that D6.
Cool. And then you also, I'll actually drop the link into the chat so that people can go take a look at the Kickstarter. If you ever want to see the link, you can just do bang link in the chat for anybody in the chat. And then they'll get the link over to the Kickstarter. You also have, I believe, a social stretch goal going on right now.
That's true. I'm surprised you brought that one up. But Monty is hiding. Monty is the bard character, and I've got a really interesting backstory for this guy, and again, a unique character attributes, and would love to get him shared, but he's got to be earned because in order for him to join the game, there's an additional cost to it. But by having that social goal, more people get visibility to the campaign on Board Game Geek or the Facebook page. So
yeah, so everybody
he's up there.
Quit what you're doing, open up another tab. Go to either Facebook and like the Fundamental Legends of Novus page, which is just the Fundamental Games page, right?
Yeah, I've got a game group, but that one's a private invite. You're welcome to join that. But I want to get the likes on the Fundamental Games page where for all the games that we make.
Okay, cool. So Fundamental Games page, and the other is to go and like it on Board Game Geek. So those two things.
That's right.
Wes, I've already done my part. So
Hey,
I have liked both of those locations. But yeah, everybody go check that out. Okay, so a big question that I had as playing this. So I've played this through a few times, and there are an insane amount of pieces of loot and monsters and events and stuff that you can run into in this game, and you're going to see a lot of that
yes.
tonight as we're playing. Um, is the game plan that there's going to be unique art on every single one of those cards? Because that is a crazy amount of art for a game, you know. And it looks like I have a prototype, and you guys are going to see a prototype tonight. And I believe that there's a lot of kind of non-final art on some of these cards. The character classes and all the main pieces of art, I believe, are final. But there, are, in some of the loot, you'll see images that are either stock images or other drawings or whatever, right? So,
Yeah.
is the plan that all of those are going to have like brand new artwork when the Kickstarter's done?
Yeah, exactly. Like all the core characters, and you don't have them in front of you there, but now all the quest creatures have original art already created. About 40% of the creatures are already completed, and the other 60% would get done. Or I've already got plans with the artist on that. And then the rewards are the final step. And the rewards are probably the easier art because it's a lot easier to draw a sword or a dagger than it is to draw an actual creature or character. So we're saving those for the last. And that's why there's so much of that stock art. Now, originally, I'd planned to do art for every adventure card as well, but that really became too expensive, as you've just mentioned. That can be really costly. So that's why I went with that iconic image, using the great icons that we already have generated on the adventure cards, and they kind of have a different look than the other two types of cards. But that's the idea: is unique cards, except for the encounter deck and the reward deck, will have a couple of duplications. So there might be two short swords or three
Okay.
goblins in the decks. So,
It's
but
impressive.
yeah.
I mean, there's a crazy amount of art, and I like it a lot. As we're playing tonight, I will try to do my best to kind of zoom in on stuff. I'm zoomed in on your Druid character art right here. Definitely on the pieces that you already have. One, to toot my own horn because I can show you how good the cards look when they're scanned in. But two, also just for potential backers who are looking at this game. It has an incredible amount of kind of feeling to it. So as you're going, the game is really about going on adventures. And when you're going on an adventure and you pull up a monster and that monster is like really cool looking, I personally think it matters a lot. I think presentation is just hugely important. So I think even in this prototype stage, stuff is really cool looking. Whoever your artist is, I don't know if you want to throw out the names of the artists, Wes,
Yeah,
but very cool.
his name is Andrea Butera. He does all the rewards and characters and monsters, and then the location artwork is fantastic. And he did the game map that you have in front of you there. That's Boros Tirano. And I actually sent you an exclusive piece of equipment that I just got the art for this morning, the Spirit Hammer. So that's a new piece that'll be joining this collection of reward cards.
Very cool. Cool. All right. So that's fantastic. I think as a prototype, as soon as I received this, I was like, wow, this is maybe a lot further along than than I realized because you never really know with Kickstarters exactly how much is still digital versus physical and how much is final art versus not.
It's certainly a whole lot further than it was in the original campaign back in February, and I wanted for the relaunch, it needed to make a difference. So I needed to show progress that the game was going to get made no matter what, and wanted to really show when I get into fantasy, I want the artwork because that's what draws you in, and so I really wanted that for this game. So
Cool. Another thing that I found interesting about your campaign is that you also are going to have an like a Android app that will be
yep.
available to include a bunch of lore and art. And will it have rules and stuff in it, or is it purely kind of a reference piece?
The Android app is actually available right now on the Kickstarter page. Anybody can download it absolutely free. You'll get all of the artwork and cards that are included in the game. So it's kind of a reference guide. It's not required at all to play the game. It's just kind of a digital accessory if you want to check out and read up on cards when you're on a break at work or when you're not on a break at work, whatever it is you want to do. The entire rulebook is downloaded in there in JPEG form. The app is actually very simple. It's just links to JPEGs to JPEGs to JPEGs, but having an app versus a web browser just makes it easier to navigate. And I tried to get it Apple as well. I had it all designed and sent it to them, but they're very picky when it comes to they need their apps to do something different. They need them to have a function, whereas Android was just happy with whatever I sent them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That you can put anything up on the Android store.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty decent app, and you can flow through it. So
Right, yeah. No, I wasn't disparaging the app, Wes. I wasn't. I was just saying that, yeah, Android, like, man, they'll let you throw whatever, and it's crazy how it's sort of like there is no gatekeeper whatsoever on the Android store.
yeah.
So this you mentioned about the relaunch, and I was going to ask you about that. So this is the second go at Kickstarter for this game. What were the things that you kind of took away and in your reloading for this run that you kind of learned as because was the first time your first time on Kickstarter? Were you like a first time creator on Kickstarter, or did you do a smaller
that was my
one
second
before?
time.
Okay.
Yeah, the very first one was a small 50 card game called Duel of the Dragons, and it had some very cool artwork. And the idea is just one dragon dueling another with a special kind of a layering technique to it. So if you get a chance to check out the old Kickstarter and you like what you see, it's actually available on drive-through cards right now. But it was a way for me to get used to the Kickstarter progress and what happens after Kickstarter and manufacturing and shipping and all that stuff. So that one was launched successfully with a small funding goal of 500 and raised $1,300 Canadian. And then went on to make Novus. Now, once I knew the platform a little bit.
Cool. Yeah. And then so was there, you almost made it, I think, on the first run at Legends of Novus. And then so you finished with that. And then was it a matter of just now you had a larger, you had gotten your hands on a lot of backers, you had found the people who would want your game, and then when you came at it a second time, that additional crowd was just kind of like what has been pushing you through this time? Or were there like a bunch of changes that you made to the campaign in the second go through?
There are four major things that happened. The first one, as you mentioned, is having that backer group. So there were about 400 people that backed the original campaign, and having their access to them through an email or update to let them know this one was launching kind of helped with that first day launch. So just building that crowd, and then over the last 3 months, still trying to find other people to join the crowd. The second one was about improving the visuals of the game. So as you can see in this one, compared to the last one, there is an update in the graphic design of the cards. The video was updated to reflect that, and the tabletop simulator was updated to reflect that. So just having that extra layer of visual costs more art-wise, but really makes an impact on what players know they're going to get. The third one was about having more professional reviews done. So as good as some of the reviews might have been in that first launch, the fact that they weren't from people with a huge audience means that they didn't go that far. So I might have had a reviewer that gets 50 to 100 views. This time got a review with Dice Tower, which has upwards of 2,000 views. And same with Tantrum. I did my own playthroughs, which might have got 50 views, whereas Tantrum gets over 700 views. So just being able to broaden the audience, it does cost for those paid reviews and those paid playthroughs. But depending on how much you want to make with your game, the payoff gets you the audience and gets you that exposure. So you're not paying for a good review, but you're paying for that reviewer's audience, so to speak.
Yeah, and it certainly takes effort to generate those audiences, right? So
yeah, they work hard at it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not easy to be generating video content constantly. So yeah, it's a legitimate job.
Yeah, and if you hit the reviewer the right way, like Mark Streed, that's with the Dice Tower review, he compares this game to have some great gameplay aspects similar to Diablo. Mm-hmm. And when you have somebody with that professionalism behind them comparing your board game to Diablo and saying they like it, that can go a lot further than what I say, right?
So, right, yep.
And then the final thing I was doing over the last 2 months is I was kind of partnering up with other game designers and offering my services for free to turn their game into a tabletop simulator version, play through it, and give free videos of the playthroughs and kind of mini reviews for them. And that let me understand game design a bit more, even though my game was already designed. It still opens me up for the future. But the bigger thing it does is it created a connection with them and in ways they may promote my game in their own audience. So it kind of creates that web of influence that I wouldn't have had if I just kept doing my own selfish thing. Instead, I was offering free services to others to try to just become more known in the game world.
That sounds familiar.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
James?
That sounds really familiar, actually. Here we are playing another game on this system that I'm trying to promote. No, but that's cool. I think me and the team went through a really similar Kickstarter experience as you had with that first one, that we were really close, and it was the same deal where we kind of started from scratch. We didn't have a built-in audience, and just through the process of the Kickstarter, we attracted a whole bunch of people who had never heard of us before, and that's just incredibly valuable. I think that everybody will tell you when you talk about Kickstarter, you have to bring your own audience, and then if you have your own audience, once you fund, then you get a lot more people. And I don't think I respected that enough when we started our Kickstarter. I kind of thought, oh no, people will like the idea and it'll work out. But I was definitely wrong. So
yeah, and like another thing that you and I have a bit in common is we're trying to create something that already has existence. So, for example, you're trying to create a digital platform when there are digital platforms, even though yours offers something different. I'm trying to create a fantasy board game. Well, how many of those are out there? I mean, they're countless.
Just a couple.
But what are we doing differently? So I'm sure we'll talk about some of the things I've done differently, and what you're doing differently is you're amalgamating digital and physical, which is pretty awesome when you can play the game with a couple people on your end while somebody across the continent or in another country can play it with you. So I really like what you've done, and just trying to show people those differences is kind of that tough part for us.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, because it's very true. I'm sure you're looking at like Google Analytics and stuff on your Kickstarter page all the time, and we were too. And just the briefness with which people are on the page, that if you don't make it clear what this is and why it's important and why it's different and why they should back it, in the minute that they're there before they go off to look at something else, you've kind of lost them as a potential backer. And in the board game space, as well as in the application space, it is hard that quickly to really kind of express that.
And it's the same with your tagline. It's the same with your video. I mean, you have such a tight window to catch attention, and as soon as something sparks in the wrong way, or they're like, I've heard this before, then it's closed and I'm on to the next thing.
Yeah, like our response all the time is like, well, why don't I just use Tabletop Simulator? And it's like, like we know Tabletop Simulator exists, we like it, we're trying to supply something different, but as soon as you say play board games online with your friends, people just are like, well, that exists. I don't need to worry about it. And it's similar with board games. Like, it's like, okay, you have classes, you have loot, you have kind of a fantasy universe, and there are a lot of differences in what you're doing than just like other stuff, right? But to tell somebody that in 30 seconds and make them believe it enough to give you money is difficult. So kudos to
those cliches and those tropes, right? You just got to find a way past them.
Kudos to making it through this goal, though. I think if your campaign is like lots of other ones, I mean, it should have a big burst here at the end, which will get it maybe almost above where the target was the first time, which is pretty exciting, I think.
And get some of those extra things that the backers deserve. Those different characters and different environments will be nice.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so I think we can start talking briefly about kind of what this game is all about, and then jump in and just start kind of hammering away at it, and hopefully USA will win the day. No, I'm just kidding. So basically, the goal of the game is to become a Legend of Novus, and shocker, that's the name of the game. And we're going to be competing to become the greatest Legend of Novus, Wes and I. Now, there are a couple other ways you can play this game. You can play it solo. You can play it in teams. You can play it 2v2, which I have not played, but I think is a very cool concept. My family is only 4, and my son is 4 years old, so he is not able to play this game effectively.
You can take his turns for him. It's okay.
Yeah. I can look at his cards. And then there's a not part of the Kickstarter, but I wanted to throw it out there because I wanted to ask you about it. Sort of a experimental co-op rules, and is that something you're going to build in later? Co-op. Do you think, or what's your plan with the co-op stuff?
The reason I didn't want to put it on the Kickstarter is because it's not tested well enough to say that I trust in the rules that are made. So it's in the rule book in case people are curious, what else could I do with this game? But it's not promoted or advertised on the Kickstarter because it needs more play testing and more playthroughs in that while. And it's hard to get 3 or 4 or 5 people together to play in a co-op, at least where I'm from anyway, because a lot going on. It's so much easier to do a solo or for myself to play a game against a pretend other player instead of me trying to control 4 characters.
Yep. If only there was a system that you could use to play
If
a
only.
physical game online.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny.
as soon as I invest in Vorpal, I can play test my games with anybody at any time. I
Yeah,
love the
it
concept
is
behind
funny because every time I talk to a designer on one of these streams, kind of that same thing comes up where it's like, okay, it's difficult to play test stuff. It's difficult
Yeah.
to get people to actually want to sit down with you and play an hour or a 90-minute game. While you're in that process of building it.
Yeah.
And everybody has that struggle. And some people find like groups of designers that get together physically regularly and play each other's designs. But I always get to throw in that little, oh yeah, ding, ding, ding. That's why, that's another great use of this software.
That's
Okay.
right.
So we're both trying to be the Legends of Novus. We're just going to play the 1v1. And there's a couple ways that you can win this game and ostensibly become the greatest Legend of Novus. You have to either defeat one quest monster, which are these big bad boys back here, and they're very tough, and you can find them in specific spots around the map, or complete 2 quests, and you actually draw quest cards, and you'll see that as we're playing. So if you complete 2 quests, or you kill a quest monster, and you get, I believe, 25 experience, you become the Legend of Novus. So the first one to race to that experience level with those accolades is the winner. And each of us is going to play a different class, and the classes do play pretty significantly differently, which I think is very cool. And we're going to move around the board, which is this world here. And at each of the locations that we go to, we're going to be able to take actions. We're going to be able to explore and have encounters and fight people and have events that happen. And then we can go back to the cities and sell the gear and treasure that we find. And the structure of the game is pretty straightforward. On your turn, you get 3 phases. You get to have a preparation phase where you can equip different armor. And you can buy some cards if you want to. And I'm not going to go through everything right now. You'll kind of see it as we play it. But you can do some preparation in your first phase. And then once you're prepared to go on an adventure, you can take one of 2 different choices. You can either travel, and by that I mean just sort of move between these dots on the map, or you can explore the location that you're in. And you can't explore the location that you're in more than once in a row. So if you explore it, the next turn you got to get out of there. And when you travel,
There's no camping in Novus.
yeah, there's no camping. You can't just hang out in Vase City and just keep looking around all the time. You got to get out there and have an adventure. And so when you travel, cool stuff can happen or bad stuff can happen. You can have encounters on the road, or you can find gear or whatever. And that's dictated by a die that you roll when you travel. And then when you explore, depending on where you are, the exploration phase can be very different. So every location that is named on here might have specific events that occur when you explore in that location. It might give you additional experience. You might have to fight a special monster. You might get bonus gold, et cetera, et cetera. There's a guide, a location guide that comes with the game that has really nice artwork for every single location, has a description, and then also has the special rules for that particular location. And then once you've traveled or explored, you choose one of those 2 things. Then you have a recovery phase at the end of your turn. And in that recovery phase, there's some recovery type actions you can do. You can take gear off or put new gear on. And then you can also, I believe, trade in gold pieces for experience pieces. There's a couple of actions you can do inside those phases. The game, very smartly, I'm hovering on them now, comes with summary cards for each player that have the exchange.
Everybody loves a player aid.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to get them on Board Game Geek here. They come in the box. It has some exchange rate information about sort of trading in gold for experience, and then also getting bonus combat rating based on how much experience you have. And then also it has the whole summaries of all those turns. At first, when you read it, like any board game of any complexity, it seems like, wow, there's a lot of phases and turns and stuff. But literally after you've played 1 round of this game, it becomes very second nature. And I, in my plays, did not find any significant weird go back to the rule book because of timing issues. I play some games where it's like, ooh, well, like if I do this, am I allowed to do this first or second or not? And I always have to be kind of going back to the rule book. But I didn't find a lot of edge cases. The one thing I wanted to ask, this is the big one for you, Wes, because I beat my wife by doing this.
I'm listening.
I sold everything I owned in one turn, even the stuff that was equipped. Is that allowed?
You are allowed to remove the stuff you own. I mean, you got to treat it like Final Fantasy or Diablo. You can take that stuff off and sell it if you want. I mean, you're defenseless if you get into a fight. So if you had to finish the game by doing something other than trading in, which is one of the rules, then you might struggle in that last battle.
Yeah. But that's what I did at the end. I retired. I was a thief.
Yeah, there you go.
I went to a city. I sold everything I owned, and then I traded in all that gold for the last bit of experience that I needed to get, and that's how I beat the game. And I was accused of maybe not playing by the rules, but I said I'm gonna ask Wes when I have him on the stream on Friday, and hopefully.
So how did you get your final experience point?
What, you're not allowed to go over to? I got 5 for the trade-in. Is there?
So there's a clause. You got to finish off with the fight or something.
Okay. So
you can't just finish off with the sale.
All right, so we're gonna cut this out. This conversation never occurred. I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to splice it. Okay, so that's actually cool. So you thought of that and you made it so you could only get to 24 experience by doing that little trick. So
yeah, now if you had another card that, that Wealth of Knowledge, you could get yourself to 23 and then just play Wealth of Knowledge. So there's still a way that money can put you over the edge.
Sure.
But it just stops you from getting that 25th point.
Well, that's actually cool because it did feel kind of cheap. And it's smart to have that in there because it felt anticlimactic, I guess. You want to have the mission end on something that's kind of like heroic. And our mission ended on like me just like going to Vice City and selling everything that I own.
It does sound like a very Vin thing to do, but
and it definitely fit my play style for that game. So all right, well after this stream, I'm gonna have to confess that I actually did not win that game, and that's all right. It's fine. It happens a lot. So okay, so the way that the game starts is we each choose a class. And we just chose classes. Wes is going to play as the Druid, and each class has a class card, which will tell you their kind of pros and cons. And the Druid can do, extra combat rating against animals, and can also move around very quick. I'm going to be playing as a knight, and and he looks really awesome. And he gets a lot of combat benefit, but then also can't run away very well. So I'm going to be fighting, essentially. And then the way that you keep track of your combat rating, which is how good you are in battle, is right on your character sheet. And I want to be clear, this game comes with these big kind of fold-out cardstock character sheets, which then you get to kind of use as like your inventory. So as you're getting items, you actually place them on like the hand spot or the body spot. It definitely feels very much like a user interface where you're equipping equipment in video games that you've played.
That's the whole idea,
yeah. And it once you get your character kind of built out, I know it's kind of like a mental trick, but it feels more like you've created sort of a unique character than just kind of like laying your cards in a horizontal line. So I definitely think that works really well. You also keep track of your combat rating, which is these shields here, and your experience using cubes. And I have cubes, and Wes just has colored squares.
And you start at 3 experience. Now, and if you want a shorter game, you can always handicap and start higher or lower. But the rulebook shows 3.
Okay, so there we go. All right, so you start at 3, and then I start. The way that you get your combat rating is you look at your character, and then you add however many combat rating shields you see here. And then as you get additional items and skills and stuff, that will add even more combat rating. So I start with on 4 because I have a +3. You start on this 1, which is the initial shield, and then I have a +3. And Wes's character has a +2, so he's starting on 3. And I'll switch my cubes here, Wes, so that we're using the same colors.
Sounds good.
Just so we don't confuse anybody. And then we both get 2 cards to start with. I believe we get an adventure card and a reward card.
Yep.
And so I'm going to scan in these cards for Wes, and this is the first time you're going to see the card scanning.
And the scanning doesn't take that long, it looks like, right? Just pop it
Yeah,
in and
you pop it in, and it takes a second or two, and then the cards will just pop in, and then the way that I'll be keeping track of the cards locally, and you'll sort of see this as I'm playing, is I have a sheet that has numbers on it right here, and as I put the cards down, I will have them on this number sheet face down, so I can keep secrecy. So I don't know what I just gave Wes, and then when he goes to play them, he'll just tell me the number of the card, which is stored inside the application, and I'll be able to pick it up from here. So we can play games that maintain secrecy. Is what I meant to say long-windedly there? Okay. All right, and then you're my guest tonight, Wes, so you can go first.
hey, I get the honors. All right. So what I would do is I would take a decision. I got to decide. Well, first I go through my preparation phase. So if I had a piece of equipment that I wanted to play, I could put it on my character, and as many pieces as you have, you can lay. There's no limit. Um, but I'm not going to do that this turn because the piece that I have doesn't match my class. But the good thing about this game is that any of the cards you have are multi-purpose. So if you can't use it on your character sheet, there's abilities that discard it, and there's cities that you can sell things. So never fear that you're going to be stuck with a dead hand. Now I'm going to use my Druidic power, and I'm going to travel 3 location spots to get to the city of A. Can I reach that in 3 spots there?
You can. 1, 2, 3.
So I didn't do anything in my preparation phase. As my second action, I had the choice to explore the location I was in or travel to where I wanted to travel to. And normally you can travel to a turn, but as a druid, I get that extra movement. And what happens when I get to Vey there, James?
Well,
That location guide?
I think you're going to have to roll that travel die, though, right?
Oh, you're right. I'm not there yet.
Yes.
So I've got to
love it when I get to call
back
out the designer of a game. That's like that's the manna from heaven for me.
There you go.
All right, so Wes is going to use the die rolling inside Vorpal board, and then he's going to roll the travel die and see what happens.
So do you see my roll on your end as well?
We
Does
will.
It pop up on your screen?
Yep.
Oh, good. So anytime you travel anywhere, there's random dangers in the world. You could get an item, you could get a reward, you could get an encounter. So I'm going to roll 0 d10s and 1 travel die. And my result is a spark, which represents the adventure deck. So I'm going to get 1 card from the adventure deck.
So that's kind of a bonus because you can have bad stuff. Well, it's not necessarily bad stuff to fight a monster. It's just you have to fight a monster, right? So
that's right. Which is good in the later game when you want the experience.
Yeah,
early game,
maybe not so much right now. Yeah, exactly.
So I've gotten a card, and before we resolve what happens in that city, I can always look at my card.
Yep.
And so now I've safely arrived in the city of Vey.
All right. So now this is I mentioned this earlier, this is the location guide. And so this location guide has cool art for every single location. And in Vey, City of Trees, the first time you visit this location, if you are a druid class, you gain 2 experience and draw 1 reward card. So this is like the homeland of the druids.
Yeah, and each class has a homeland like that. So Kane's, for example, is over near the demon city he's in the city of Exile, kind of the last refuge against the demons, whereas the druids is in a forested Bay city.
Yeah, so...
All right, so
you're probably going to have to get this guy out of the way before this next
Gotcha.
game. There you go.
So I found myself a couple more pieces of equipment. So what I'm going to do is now I'm in my recovery phase. I safely got there. Nothing bad happened. I'm going to use my druidic ability that says I can discard 2 cards to gain a basic animal ally. I can only have 1 of those in play at a time. So as long as I don't have an ally, I can make one. And I'm going to discard this wizard's robe. I don't know. Okay. How do I reveal this to you?
Oh, well, you can just delete it, but you got to tell me the ID before you delete it if you can.
Okay, so ID 18, okay. I'm going to get rid of, and ID, you know what? I'm going to get rid of both my equipment. I like the other 2 cards I have. So right. ID 18 and 16, I'm going to delete.
All right, the Mask of the Mindful and the Wizard's Robe.
So if you could kindly provide me with a wolf animal ally.
There we go. So then these can be equipped, right? I haven't played with a druid, so...
Yeah, so the druid summons an ally and it automatically fills an item slot on the on the card here. Oh, I accidentally picked up.
So okay, you can drop it and then double click on it. There you go.
There you go. So he fills an item slot, so I won't be able to put an item on that particular slot. But the good thing about items is you can have 4 of them, 1 on each corner. So now he's going to give me +2 to my combat for as long as he's in play.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have Barracks, the Druid, and his trusty wolf sidekick, Ember.
Very cool.
All right.
Yeah,
So then,
I like it because and you'll see this. Like, I mean, I'm gonna harp on this because that's the type of person that I am. But you do build this little adventure for yourself, right? I mean, and maybe I'm like a real dork because in my mind space, I like to think about my character and kind of like what his deal is.
right.
But definitely it works. Like now you're this nude druid who just has like a wolf with him, you know.
I'm sure I have some breeches on. You just can't see them.
You just can't see him. Okay, cool. So is that the end of your deal?
Yeah, and James, one thing I wanted to say about this is you can talk about your character as though he's real. You can name your things. You can talk about where you're going, like you're traveling, and turn it into your own mini RPG. And that's why I'm kind of selling this to some groups as an introduction to RPGs or a gateway game to fantasy board gaming. But yeah, go ahead and take your turn.
All right, cool. Do you start with any money? Did I miss that step?
You start with 10 gold pieces. Yes,
Okay.
you do.
All right. All right, so I'll bring my 10 gold down here. Oh, and then you'll have to make a copy of that, Wes, just so you don't.
Oh, don't take the whole pile.
Yeah,
eh?
just so you don't take all the 10 gold pieces. Okay.
All
right.
right.
So my turn. I'm gonna wear. I drew an enchanted helmet, which is great. I'm going to equip it, which gives me an additional 2 combat rating. And then anytime a creature is going to make me roll a die, which does happen from time to time, creatures can.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, they make you do bad things essentially before you fight them. I get to add 2 to that roll, which is very nice. And then one thing I'm going to throw out here because I always got to defend myself. Wes knows what all the locations do, and I don't know what all the locations do. I watched that video on Dice Tower, and he said, well, you could go through and read them all and kind of know what they're doing, or you could just kind of play it as if you're exploring the world, and like that's the way we've played so far. So there are a bunch of locations here that I haven't been to yet. So I actually was unclear on. Oh, he is a Knight of Exile, so I should know where I was supposed to go.
Yeah, and his icon is right on the map. It's easy reference for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. I'm gonna go.
So kind of one of the things that I haven't put in the rules, but I'll recommend that on a first game, your introductory action should make your way to your home city to get that little experience.
Yeah, a
boost.
little experience bonus. But I hate the Tropics of Dalmaria. I know what happens there.
Yeah,
so I'm not headed there quite yet. I'm actually going to camp out here in Vase City. And am I allowed to do my first turn by exploring in Vase City, even though
you sure are yet?
Okay, so
you have not explored there.
So I'm going to explore in Vase City, and the way exploration works is you don't get to just keep the card necessarily that you pick up. You flip over one adventure card, and if it is not an encounter, sometimes it'll say encounter on it. If it says an encounter, then you have to fight. You have to pick up an encounter card and fight. If it's anything else other than encounter, you get to pick it up and put it in your hand. So I'm going to pick it up and put it in my hand, and then if you did not have a fight, you get to choose either a reward card or another adventure card to put directly into your hand. So I'm going to pick up a reward. Did I get all that right, Wes?
You sure did, yeah. And so part of adventuring, by exposing that card, your opponents might know if you have a trick up your sleeve. There's not many take that cards, but there's a couple, and it helps people know about those. And then the one thing that you could do if you had it in your hand during the second part of your adventure phase is if you had an encounter card, you could play it to force a battle. And sometimes you want to do that in the later game to earn that experience.
Yep. Okay, so at the now in my recovery phase, I'm just going to play this skill. I can equip a skill during recovery, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to equip a skill, and it's the Master of Monsters, which...
Oh, that's very fitting.
Yeah, which is really nice. I get to ignore any abilities that a monster has that does not have a roll attached to it. And if it does have a roll attached to it, I gain +5. So now I'm at a +7 to that roll. So
you're in pretty good shape.
I can just ignore abilities, essentially, which is a good spot to be. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you're not going to take a savage bear swipe or get stuck by a giant spider.
Okay, so you are up.
All right, so I've traveled to Vey. What do we got? My combat's fair. I'm going to follow your suit, and I'm going to explore here and see what happens.
All right.
So, Now, in the instructions, I recommend tipping your standee over. I know some people might be opposed to that, but as
Oh
long
yeah,
as you
yeah.
guys, as long as players have a system in which they know that they just explored.
Yeah, that, and especially if you were playing with more than 2 players, I think that could be very
Yeah,
valuable. Just because with 2 players it's easier to keep track of, but it's a lot harder with more than two. All right, so it's
yeah,
a curse.
yeah. So curses are a special event where it doesn't go to your hand; it actually gets applied directly to your character. It's one of the
Yeah.
few negative things that can happen to you from the adventure deck. So that will go right onto my character cards. The only one that can avoid that is the priest or the paladin.
So that is a bummer for you.
It is, but that's okay. So we're going to flip that over. We're going to plop it down here. And this one is the curse of, it's called the mind racking rail. So what happens is anytime I have combat, I suffer -2. So it's almost negating my dear wolf ally. Ember's the one defending me because Barrick is scared to death of this mind racking rail.
Yeah, he's
But
just
there are ways to, there's a couple of different ways to get rid of the curse. There's an adventure card that can do it, or I can now be incentivized to travel to the city of Braille, where those priests that are in Novus could take it off me for a certain fee. Or if I have no money, I could travel all the way down to Aura's altar, and there I can get rid of curses at no cost. So there's ways to get rid of them if you don't like what's happened to you. But I'm going to knock my combat back down to a 3, and so that was my first card. I still do get a second card because it wasn't an encounter card. So I'm going to
oh,
choose to take. I'm going to
okay,
choose to take a reward.
cool. Yeah, I actually, I guess that makes sense. I probably would have played that way. I can't remember if we ever pulled any curses actually as a first card. I'm
Yeah.
not sure about it.
All right, so this time, this one goes to my hand without showing you, so I will right-click and pick that up.
Yeah.
And I will keep that in my hand, and I am not going to equip that, so my turn is over.
All right. Well, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to get out of here. Hi, yay. All right, I'm gonna
If
travel.
you've ever played the original Final Fantasy, you could stand in that same city and explore and fight creatures for 2 hours,
Just
right? To
grind,
level up.
yeah, just grind and grind. Okay, so I'm going to travel 1, 2 to the Tropics of Delmaria, and I'm going to roll. And I got a encounter.
Yes.
So this actually exact same thing happened to us when I was playing before. This encounter is like a road encounter. It has nothing to do with the location that you're currently in. Is that correct?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, it's just a random encounter that could happen anywhere in Novus.
All right. So I am going to have an encounter with a diving griffin.
Yep. And so you're going to see that one has an action die icon on it, right?
Yep, it does.
So there.
Yeah. So let me hover on that to show people. So there is a little action here that he has a thing called diving grab. And so when you go into combat with a monster, if they have an ability, that gets dealt with immediately before any sort of fighting. And so sometimes it's like bad stuff like you lose an item or something. And I think there's some, it's like a goblin or something that destroys one of your items or something like that.
You always have I think there's only one card that you can't avoid, and that's the Cackling Imp. But every other card you have a chance to avoid this. And with your special Master Monsters and your helmet there, you have a really good chance at avoiding this.
Yeah, so if I roll, so I'm going to roll a d10, and if I roll a 5 or less, my turn ends immediately. Well, I have a +7, so I don't think I can roll a 5 or less, but...
Unless you roll a tragic fail.
Correct. So you always have to roll. We didn't mention that earlier, but if you roll a 1, you fail whatever you're trying to do.
Now, one of the things I'm going to add into the game is I'm going to add in 1 luck token that players can each have, so they can avoid 1 tragic fail a game, because some people don't like the idea of always failing on a 1. So just having that 1 chance to avoid that 1 thing that might have broken the game.
So you can spend it only 1 time for the whole mission.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So I rolled a 2, so not a good roll, but +7, we're taking care of business here. Okay, so I don't get caught by the diving grab, and now I can choose to try to run if I wanted to, right? So if I wanted to get out of here, I could, but I don't want to, because I'm here to attack things. And
you get a penalty for running away because you're not scared of anything.
Yeah, so I can't. If I try to run away, I actually have a -2 to my roll because I'm a knight, and knights got to be tough. And so I get +2 combat rating against monstrosities. This is not a monstrosity. This particular animal, or this monster, is just an animal. There's a little class on here that you can see on every single monster. So I'm gonna fight it. It has a 7. I have a 6, and so I got a decent enough chance to take it down. So the way that it works for combat is I roll a d10, and then the player to your right rolls a d10 for the monster. We only have one other player, so Wes is going to roll the d10 for the monster. I'm going to roll the d10 for myself, and we're just going to see. What'd you roll there? Oh, you rolled a travel die for me.
Yeah, I got to roll the right die.
All right, so I'll leave that
And
up.
I know one of the things that comes up is about why a D10 and why just one roll and why not more modifiers. And the idea behind that was just to keep the game as simple as possible while still. Sorry, I rolled a 2. I didn't mean to re-roll.
Okay.
But to keep the idea of combat as simple as possible. Like originally, I didn't even have die rolls, but there's something about rolling a die and having a chance of success and failure that made it more interesting. But I didn't want to overcomplicate it with THACOs or to hit classes or anything like that. So it's really just a comparison once you have all your combat score figured out.
Cool. So I rolled a 6. Your first roll, you could have lied to me and told me that second 6 was the 6. That's how I know you're an honorable man.
Yeah.
So I rolled a 6. You rolled a 2, which means I took this griffin down. All you do is you take your roll and then you add your combat rating to it, and the griffin takes its combat rating and adds to the roll. So he would have a 9, and I would have a 12. So I take him down to 9. And so then what I get for victory from this griffin is 2 experience. So I'm up to 5. And then I also get 2 rewards cards.
That griffin's loaded.
Yeah.
What did he have? What do you have in his nest? He must have come across his nest.
He was carrying some stuff. Okay, so now I have arrived at the Tropics of Delmaria, and I have a question for you about the location guide. So on the Tropics of Delmaria, it says event, not explore.
Yeah, I think that one is a typo. I've corrected it since producing that, but it is an explorer, which means you'd have to go there on your next turn. Yep.
And that would only be if I chose to explore there, so I can keep rolling. Got it. Okay, good.
So you don't have to go hunt down Reptosaurus.
Yeah, because I don't want to fight one of those guys. That particular location has almost like a mix of like a dragon and a Tyrannosaurus looking thing. And if you explore there and you haven't killed one yet, this game you have to fight one, and they're not fun to fight. So I'm glad I don't have to fight them.
But they are a good place to go later in the game when you're tough and you want to get some experience. It's a guaranteed fight as opposed to waiting for a random fight.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to equip the Gloves of Protection, which is another magical item that I will put in one of my hands. And
he knows where the magic is at.
Yeah, seriously. You may destroy the Gloves of Protection to negate the special ability of any creature. The special ability stuff, man, this is great. I do not have to care. You may also have one additional hand equipped. So essentially, I can put the gloves on underneath one of my swords. It doesn't have to take up.
And if you want to see something, if you pull up Asmokai, you can see how good your abilities are suddenly becoming. Because if you pull up Asmokai, which is Kane's arch nemesis, he's the demon lord that's north of Exire. But you have to roll a pretty high number to avoid that ability, and that ability is devastating.
Yeah, let me see. I've never fought Asmokai, the mind-crushing demon. Oh, yeah. Add your XP. If the result is less than 23, you must discard all of the cards in your hand. Then you must make an escape roll. Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, so normally you'd have to be up to about 20 experience just to have a chance to stop that power, but you've found a way around that.
Yeah, so that's good. And my plan to just put the cards in exactly one order that I knew would work for me is playing out well.
Yeah, I'll never know.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. I had a little battle. I equipped some stuff, and I'm done.
All right, so I'm going to stand up, and I can move 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to move over to the city of Nost.
All right.
Oh, wait, I can't. Yeah, I can get there, I think.
Yeah, from Vey, you can. Yep.
So I'm going to roll my travel die. I'm going to remember this time.
Sweet.
So 0 of that, 1 of that. Give this thing a roll, and I have a random encounter.
All right, random encounter. All right, so I'm going to scan this one in just so we don't have to scan in the encounters, but I want to show this art off really close.
Yep.
Okay, so you're fighting some mutant rats.
Oh, yes.
Zoom in on these guys. They're gross looking.
Yes, always flavor text on the bottom to kind of signify a little backstory about the creatures there. But these rats are also have the ability to imbue a curse, so you can see that curse icon on them. I'm already cursed, but it doesn't mean I couldn't get another curse.
Double cursed.
So we've got to keep that in mind. Now they don't have a action ability, so I don't have to do anything when I fight them. So I can go right to deciding if I want to run away or not. And these guys are a bit bigger in the deck. A 7 is a pretty big number in the random deck.
Yep.
And given that I already have this -2, my net combat is a 3, so I have a pretty big disadvantage if I want to try to fight these. Now, I believe I do get a bonus against animal creatures of 2, and this is an animal creature. So now I have to decide, do I think it's worth it? I don't have any tricks up my sleeve. So, and if I do decide to run and I fail, I'll get an extra -1 and have to fight him anyway. So that's where you have to take that risk if you want to fight or not, or run or not. So I'm going to make an attempt to run away.
All right.
So I roll the travel die. As long as I roll over 5, I escape, and that basically gets me to my recovery phase. So I ran away from the mutant rats, and they go to the discard pile.
All right, so we blow those away. Goodbye, mutant rats.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't get any benefit from running away. There is a character class that will get experience from running away.
Yep.
But we are not playing that character class.
All right, and then when I arrive in the city of Nost, it has a ability that doesn't require exploring. Just when I arrive there, I can discard an event card, which I will discard card number 15, which is a encounter event card, so that I can gain 25 gold pieces.
Oh, nice. All right.
So I'm going to copy that, and I'll probably be using that at the beginning of my next turn as one of the options. But you can't buy things at the end of your turn, only the beginning of your turn. So I'm safely in Nost, nothing else happens, and I pass the turn to you.
All right, sounds good. I am going to get to Exire. 1, 2. And I'm going to roll my travel die here. And I get, so I rolled the travel die and I got, it looks like a travel icon. And what that is I can get an extra step if I want to go. So that ability Wes has where he can move 3. I can get that essentially by rolling that travel icon. Or if I don't want to use it, I can get 10 gold. And in this case, I only wanted to go 2 spaces anyway. So I'm just going to take the 10 gold.
Yeah, and originally I didn't have that 10 gold option, but I found so many times I already got to where I wanted to go when I rolled that. So I thought, let's put in a decision or an option so that at least you feel some benefit for that die.
Yeah, I think that's smart because I would feel kind of let down if I rolled it. Okay, so I arrived in Exire, and I believe that just gives me 2 experience and a reward card. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's the home city of the night. So you get that
2 experience and draw 1 reward. Just becoming
really buffing up.
Yeah, getting beastly here. Let's see. Okay, so can I play quests in the recovery, or is that only in the prep?
So quest cards usually have a specific rule on them. So if you read it, it'll tell you, for example, I've got one, and just for transparency, I've got Serenity Lake, so it can only be played at Serenity Lake.
Right.
And it might say that you have to, if it doesn't say you have to play it at a certain part of the turn, then you can play it at any part.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to play it quite yet. I am going to. Go ahead.
So you've got the one where you have to fight that level 9 demon, do you?
See, look at this. See, playing the game with somebody who knows all the cards is always entertaining. Yes, I do have that one. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, your guy's jacked up and he's ready to kill demons. So
yeah,
you have a fitting storyline going on with Kane over there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna equip this dagger, which at least give me 1 more combat rating.
Unless you're the thief, because the thief really knows how to poke.
Yeah. Then he would get an additional bonus. So I'm not gonna play it this turn. I'm going to hang out this turn and be done.
Yeah, and you're allowed to hold on to up to 5 cards, so you never have to do exactly. You always have choices, right? I might have this quest card in my hand for 10 turns. It's not like it's going to go anywhere unless I choose to. Unless you fight a creature that makes you discard. There's a couple of those. All right, so I'm going to take my turn then. I'm going to travel up to Serenity Lake.
Ooh,
it's a very peaceful place.
Yes.
And I will roll the travel die. So let me re-equip that one, give that a roll. I've got safe travels. I don't need to go any further, so I'll grab that 10 point,
if I remember, you can't have a battle in Serenity Lake. Is that right?
You are correct. If you were to draw an encounter card, I believe it just gets discarded instead. It's a very peaceful place, right? The orcs don't want to go there. The skeletons don't exist there. So
Sweet.
And then there is an option that happens if I choose to explore there. But I'm safe in Serenity Lake. I go to my recovery phase, which I can play an event card. So I'm going to play this Quest for Peace. And so if you look at Quest for Peace, it says it can only be played at Serenity Lake. Once played, I must skip my next turn. But when I do that, I'll gain 3 experience. So that's what I'm going to do.
Cool.
So this quest card, I'm going to. Is there a way for me to drop this thing?
Yeah, you can you can drop it and then double click and pick it up. There you go.
So once you play a quest creature, there's not a space on your board for it because it doesn't represent something that's live. So you put it kind of the side to your board, and I've now completed that quest. But I lose my next turn, and I'll go up by 3 experience points.
All right, so I'll lay you down just to show that you're missing your next turn, but you didn't explore there. We'll just have to remember that. I'm sure we'll deal with it.
Sounds good.
All right, so it's my turn, and I'm going to explore Exire and hope to get something cool.
Hey.
And, all right. I got a skill. It's called Master of Classes.
Ooh.
So I'm going to put that in my hand. And then...
Yeah, you never have to play them because you might want to use that for your Expert Maneuvers ability, for example.
Right. Yeah, because there are guys who can discard stuff, which is nice. The Expert Maneuver... that Wes mentioned actually lets me discard. I'm hovering on it now, but it lets me discard a card in combat, and I will get 2 additional combat rating for the round. So if I have sort of junk cards, I can use them to drop and to help myself out in combat.
Yeah, and the key thing I put in is that you don't have to use that ability till after you see the results of your roll, so that you never feel let down that, I wasted this card to pump myself up and I still lost. I shouldn't have done that. See, look, you don't have that depressing feeling.
That's a real kind designer there. Hoping that
it's such a shame when you discard your hand and you're like, I'm going to discard all these to get +5, and then you roll a 1. You're like, oh,
yeah, oh, what a waste. All right, so I'm going to pick up a reward card because I did not have a battle. Okay. And all right, interesting. I'm going to try to make something happen here. I'm going to get.
You get another turn after this, even if all goes wrong.
Right? Yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit messy. So I'm going to sell some stuff.
Yeah, you're in a city location. You can do that.
So I'm going to sell a medium treasure, a rare gems, which is worth 50, and a light helmet. I'm going to keep the light helmet. So I'm going to sell 2 treasure pieces for a total of 60 gold. Okay. 25, 50, 60, okay. And then I'm going to just go for it, and I'm going to do this Quest for Evil. So I'm going to play a Quest for Evil card, and this is a quest that can only be played in the city of Exire, which I am at, which is called the Molten City. And I must battle a demon creature with a +9... combat rating.
Right on.
All right.
No ability. It's just a straight out demon.
I got to beat a 9. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard this light helmet. I can wait till after my roll, right?
You can do what, sorry?
I can wait till after my roll before I use that ability.
That's right,
so
yeah.
I'm going to do that.
You can save that so you don't... It's kind of like when you're playing a game like Diablo or Final Fantasy, you can press that special ability when you're about to die, right? you know when it's going to happen, so you're like, I'm pulling out all the stops.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to attack. I have a combat rating of 7, and Wes will roll for the combat rating of 9, and we'll just hope for the best.
So he has a 2-point advantage, and sometimes the way I describe it when I'm teaching people the game is you just put the difference as a bonus. So instead of us both adding, you could just say, you know what, that means the demon gets +2 and you get +0.
Oh, true.
You just want to keep math. But either way, this demon has rolled a 9.
And I rolled a 9. So now I'm going to discard my card to get +2. Do I win ties?
You win ties.
Yes.
You got it.
All right. So I'm going to discard this card to use my battle maneuvers.
So you found a way to take that dagger and just hit him in the sweet spot.
Just got him right in that weird glowing spot on his chest. All right, so I gained 3 experience by taking down this demon, and I now have a quest completed. So we are even in that category.
This is true.
Okay, cool. And then that's my turn.
Yeah, and now you get your second turn because I'm just chilling in Serenity Lake.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so I'm gonna.
Ember's just lapping up the water.
Yeah,
I want to let him have his rest.
You're hanging out there just thinking at the Serenity Lake, just taking a good long look around. So all the big, you can see these big red circles. This is where the big bad monsters live. And so if you
Now, just wait a moment. I think there's one thing that we could have done at the end of your last turn, because you just hit that magic number.
Oh, I just hit 10. That's right.
You hit 10.
All right. So this is a cool thing we haven't talked about. I can go from my basic class, which is just a fighter, and then I can upgrade to an advanced class. And an advanced class is kind of like a dual class. So for every starting class, I haven't looked at all of them, but I'm pretty sure that there are 4 potential options that are sort of combinations of all the other classes. So, for example, there's like a fighter / thief, which is like an assassin. And both the thief and the fighter could upgrade to become that
Exactly.
assassin. So I can take a quick look through my advanced classes for the fighter, and I actually do like that aggressive assassin class. I played as that when I started as a thief.
Yeah, they've all got some different perks to them for sure.
Yeah. But I also like the ballistic battle mage. And I think I might do that. But let me think for a second. Give me too much to think about right here, Wes.
Options, always options, and that adds to the replayability, right? Because one game you might like the aggressive assassin, but then the next time you play, you might, maybe I'll just be a relentless ranger or I'll be a paladin. And all the characters have to kind of rhyming, fun little names just to be memorable, and then, like you said, each one then can branch out 4 different ways.
Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna be a perfect paladin. That's what I'm doing.
Sounds fitting for this demonic crushing quest that you're on.
Yeah, I am just going to try to fight until I can no longer move. All right, so the perfect paladin, I automatically win the first round of quest battles. So when you fight a big quest monster, you have to fight them in rounds of 3, or 3 rounds, and you have to win 2 out of the 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And so this would allow me to automatically win the first round, so I would only have to win 1 out of 2 of those next 2 rounds. But I cannot choose to escape a battle. So no, I can't try to run from anybody from here on out. But I also cannot be cursed.
Yep.
And then once per turn, I may spend 25 gold to earn 1 experience. So if I'm able to make some sweet cash, I can trade that up to level my guy up. And then I also can cure curses if I'm in the same space.
You don't need your money. You're giving back to the people.
That's right. And if I'm in the same space as somebody who is cursed, I can choose to remove that curse, which I will not be doing for my competitor, Wes. Yeah. But if I was playing 2v2, I'd be able to uncurse
and that's kind of for that team play.
All right. And then I do go up. My base combat rating increase for my class used to be 3, and now it's 4. So I'm going to go up 1 in combat rating, so I'm now an 8.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
One of the things that we haven't been doing is modifying our combat for our experience. So we'll have to remember to do that.
Oh, that's right. So that's a good thing to remember right here on your chart. It will tell you based on where your experience is, you get bonuses to your combat rating. So my experience, as an example, is a 10. And if you look, if I have 6 to 10 experience, I get +2 combat rating. So I'm actually at a 10. So your combat rating is very fluid. You just got to kind of always keep your eye on the changing nature of your character, things you're equipping, things you're taking off, your upgrades to your class, and also your increases in experience. So I actually think in the rule book, it kind of recommends that when you go into a combat, quickly take a look at everything that you have and sort of redo that adding to make sure that you have it set correctly on your board.
Or it's a good thing to do when it's not your turn. Like if you're playing a 3 or 4 player game, definitely take that time when it's not your turn to make sure everything's right.
Cool. Okay, so that was the end of my first turn. Right? I didn't take a second turn yet. I explored in Exire. I fought the demon.
You did not.
And then you reminded me that I needed to upgrade to the new class.
Yep.
So the longest 2 turns in history.
The perfect paladin.
Continue. So now I'm a perfect paladin. And oh man. I'm gonna go.
I mean, you could really tell a story and just go up and try to crush Asmakai early and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe I will, because I have the ability to avoid that, and I win my first round against him. So I'm gonna do it.
Now he does get +23 to his roll, so you might want to. Do you have anywhere close to +23 to your roll?
+23.
Yeah. Did you see?
No.
I might be luring you into a false sense of
Hold on,
security.
hold
He
on.
does get
Did
plus
you say
23 to
plus?
combat.
Okay. He has a 23. Holy moly. And I'm only at a 10. So there's no way I can get up that high.
So you might need to
I
do a
need to
little
wait.
more.
I need to wait. Yeah.
Not quite yet.
You really tried to
But if you went south,
screw me over there. I'm gonna go to the
if you
demon
went
gate
south,
though.
I'm sure you could slay Juragon.
I've never gone to the
Well, I'm
demon
sure you
gate.
could slay Juragon.
Well,
Sounds
are
good.
you lying to me about that one too?
No, he's a quest creature you could take down, but
Okay.
going to the demon pit, if you want to be that perfect paladin that just slays demons for a living, I mean,
Yeah.
you're well fit to do that.
I'm going up there. I'm gonna go to the demon gate. 1, 2. I'm gonna roll my die here.
Sounds good.
I got a random encounter. All right, and I am fighting a savage bear. All right, so the savage bear.
Take a swipe, and you're just gonna
Yeah.
deftly dodge.
So I add my XP to the roll. If the result is less than 10, you suffer -2. So my XP is 10. So the only way I can fail this, I can still fail it, right, with a 1.
You can still fail, yeah.
Okay, so I rolled a 7. So I avoid the dodge or avoid the savage swipe, and then
Yeah, and the reason that you add your XP is just to represent that, over time you have learned how to fight these monsters. You particularly have learned very fast, but
yeah,
it's just to kind of represent that you're not going to get taken down by a random swipe of a bear.
I'm not afraid of a bear at this point. Okay, so now I'm going to attack him. Obviously, I'm not allowed to run anymore, and so I have a 10, and I'm attacking, and he has a 4. Okay.
So they end up with a total of 10, 6 plus 4.
And then I rolled a 4, so I have a total of 14. So that bear
You've slain the bear.
Toast. All right, so I get 2 experience for killing the bear, and I get a reward card.
Yep.
Sweet. Okay, and I am I'm just hanging out now in the demon gate, and I'm going to not equip this. I'm just going to do nothing at the end of this phase.
All right. So I wake up from my slumber in Serenity Lake with my loyal companion beside me. And we must decide what to do.
You got some catching up to do.
I think I'm going to explore. I think I'm going to explore here.
All right. So
actually, you know what? First, I'm going to spend 20. Before I explore, I'm going to spend 25 gold pieces.
Okay.
For a reward card.
All right. So you can buy reward cards and adventure cards at the beginning of your prep phase.
Yeah, 1 per turn. All right, so I have found myself a scroll of summoning. I'm going to actually use that scroll because I can play an equipment before I explore, and I can use that anytime. So I'm using card 22.
Okay.
And then if you can give me another ally, Ember's twin wolf companion. We're going to call him Frost.
Ember and Frost. That's good. You got the fire and ice working for you.
That's right. So we'll slap him on my top left.
HBO, do not sue us.
There you go.
Okay. So
Game of Thrones is over.
Yep, that's true.
So I'll bump up 2 more combat with my 2 wolf companions. This druid knows what it's all about. And now I'll do my explore phase, even though there's not going to be a creature because I'm in Serenity Lake.
Yeah, so this is just I do a flip over, and if it's an encounter, I throw it away, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you got a travel plans event.
Excellent.
And so this will go right into your hand, right?
You got it. Yep.
All right.
And then for my second card, I will draw another reward card.
Okay. Another reward card. Okay. There you go.
All right. So pick that up.
So for any folks who have joined since we started, we are looking at Legends of Novus, which is currently on Kickstarter. If you type bang link in the chat, you'll get the link to the live Kickstarter. And this is Wes Woodbury. He is the designer and soon to be publisher of this game from Fundamental Games. And this is a prototype of the game, a pretty close to final prototype that we're playing. And if you have any questions about the game or the platform that we're using to play it, Vorpal board, feel free to just shout it out in the chat, and we'll stop and chat about it. So, okay.
And how many people are watching right now, James?
Well, the viewer count is kind of weird with Twitch, because sometimes like they put like bots in and out. So we've had anywhere from like in the 10 range. So we've kind of been bouncing back and forth between like 5 and 10, somewhere around there.
Gotcha.
So
go
ahead.
I was going to say, and it's hard to get people to commit to be able to watch an hour of this kind of thing, but it's nice to be able to just stop in and see some live gameplay.
Yeah, I think that's probably, I mean, that's really the way that I use Twitch generally, is I kind of like bounce in and out to a bunch of channels that I like. If I see a board game person that I know playing a game, or it's a game that I actually really enjoy, like I'm a big Gloomhaven player, so if I see people playing Gloomhaven, I'll drop in and just sort of look at it for 20 minutes or something and then bounce somewhere else. So I assume we kind of have people coming in and out that way. And then I imagine some folks coming from your Kickstarter directly. You know, people who are backers. So, okay. So you explore.
All right, so take one quick look at Serenity Lake. I'm pretty sure I gain experience there too. I just can't remember when it is. I think it's at the end of my adventure phase.
Cool. Let's see. Serenity Lake. If you end your adventure phase on Serenity Lake, gain 1 experience.
All right. So I would have.
So you would have gotten one before too.
Yeah. So I would have gotten one, and that gives you incentive to actually explore in Serenity Lake, because by going there, you're actually gaining 2 experience. Yeah. One the turn you get there, and one the turn that you stay there. Very cool. So then I go to my recovery phase. During my recovery phase, I am going to upgrade my class to become I'm also going to go the priestly way, the religious way, because I happen to have a nice piece of equipment that's going to do well with that. So I'm going to become the spiritual saint, which is the druid priest character.
Ooh, the spiritual saint.
Right. When I get her, I believe I get yet another ally, because Ember and Frost, they really want one more companion. So we're going to add.
You were just leading a little gang around here.
We're going to add Swift the Pegasus to my ally group here.
Let's see. Yeah, the magic animal ally. All right.
Now, if I want to, there's a rotate button. See, you thought of everything.
Look at that. It's so intuitive.
So when I flip this down, I'm actually going to lose a combat, because you can see Spiritual Saint is 1 less than the Druid himself. But that's okay, because I'm making up for it with this amazing Pegasus ally and new abilities that I have.
Yeah, very cool. So one thing I wondered about that Pegasus is it gains flight. What exactly does that do for you as a player?
There are certain creatures that will give you a negative to escape if you don't have flight. So it's helps you against just a couple of creatures in the game. It's nothing. It doesn't give you any extra travel or anything.
Okay, cool.
But it does give me 3 extra combat, so I will add that on.
Ooh, nice.
So
you just roll up on people with like a whole group, and then you send all the the animals at them. I love it. Oh, that's great.
Well, I'm still cursed. I don't like that. So, but I've got this amazing piece of armor that I've had since the second turn of the game, and I'm going to throw that on now. So I will drop that, flip it, and show you this lovely Aura's armor that I have. Aura's the goddess of the world of Novus. So she's going to give me an extra 5 combat with this armor. And I cannot lower my combat value from abilities or events.
Sweet.
I had to have at least 10 experience and be the priest class.
So that's why you upgraded to that priest class. Very cool.
You got it. See, so there's certain reasons why you might just want to go to a certain way.
Yeah, and so for viewers of the stream, every single armor piece has sort of an indication of where it fills on your character. So this armor fills in the body spot. But it also fills in the head spot, because you cannot equip a head item once you have this equipped. And then this icon here is what class you have to be in order to equip it. In this case, Wes is 2 classes. So any item that shows the priest icon or the druid icon, he would be able to equip the items of those 2 classes. So, all right.
All right. Now I've played it an equipment this turn, and I've upgraded my class, but I can also play an event card if I have one that I can play. So I'm going to drop this and show you. I've got some travel plans. And what this
Ooh.
lets me do is it lets me get some extra movement happening. So I get to move 3 locations. I'm going to go down to Nost and then down 2 from Nost to that area to the right of the flooded plains. Just
Okay.
as kind of a free movement. I don't have to roll a travel die or anything. It just
Cool.
lets me. It's like I planned my escape from Serenity Lake
And
after
you
that
could and
peaceful
you get
rest.
to do that during your recovery phase, which is cool.
Yeah, so I'll discard card 23.
Okay.
And so that will end my turn. And while you take your turn, I'm going to recalculate my combat because I'm sure
Sweet.
I'm a little bit off.
All right, so I am in the Demon Gate, and I have no idea what happens here. And Wes didn't tell me, so we're just gonna find out. We're gonna find out what the deal is.
So this is one of those guaranteed encounter locations, which are good because later in the game you want to be able to fight things.
Yeah, I'm looking to fight. I'm not messing around, right? So okay, if I explore, I flip over cards from the encounter deck until I reveal a demon creature. And then I must battle that creature, but it gains +2. Uh-oh. All right. So let's see. I have a combat rating of 11. Yeah, I mean, why don't I? Let's do it.
You could do it.
Let's do it.
Plus, you don't have expert maneuver anymore, but you do.
Yeah, I
You've
don't
got
have the export maneuver.
You're strong enough without it.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to spend 25 gold during my prep phase, and I'm going to buy a reward card before I get into this battle. Can I only do that once? Can I only buy one card per turn, Wes?
Yeah, one card a turn, either adventure or reward, your choice.
All right, so I got some.
And you've seen when you're the thief character, sometimes you have a lot of money. You don't want to be able to buy 10 cards in a turn type of thing.
Right. All right, so I'm going to equip this Master of Classes card as a skill. And what that does is it lets me actually equip items of any class, which is nice because there are a lot of items that are cool for other classes that I'd like to use. And as very conveniently, I have a holy symbol, which I can equip as an item, and that will gain me +2 against demon and undead creatures. So that's a perfect timing right there, because I'm about to fight a demon.
Now, technically, you could wear that without using that event card because you are a priest class.
I forgot.
Because you upgraded to dual class.
Yeah, I forgot. Okay, yeah. All right, so I didn't need that. I take it all back. But
it's good. It's good that you mentioned that card because it does let you bypass one of the rules.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna explore. So I'm gonna flip through the encounter card until I find a demon. This is a humanoid, a magical, an undead, humanoid. Where are these demons at? They're hiding in this demon gate.
There's a couple things in there. Yep.
Undead,
there's a ghoul.
Animal. Demon. All right. A alluring devil.
The she-devil.
Yeah. So let's see what she's all about. So she has a 6. And she gets +2 because I'm fighting her at the demon gate. So she now has an 8. And then she tries to seduce me. And if I roll a 5 or less, I immediately end the battle and discard a card from my hand. So she would trick me and take something from me in my hand. But it's impossible for me to roll a 5 or less. So all I have to do is roll not a 1.
Because normally you wouldn't add. This one is one of the ones that doesn't add your experience because you can't bypass her seduction with experience, but you've got those special ability cards.
Yep. All right, so here we go. All right, so lucky again, I rolled a 2. So I was able to not get seduced. I am unable to be seduced. And then I'm going to do battle with this alluring devil. And she has an 8, and I have an 11 +2 for my holy symbol. So I have a 13.
Oh, I got to roll. That's right. Let me pull up my bag of dice here. Here we go.
So I got my roll.
She has rolled 7 + 6. She's 13.
Yep. So I'm 4 + 13. So I am 17.
You have taken down the seducing demon.
I have taken down the alluring devil. So I get 2 experience and 1 reward card. So I'm creeping up on that 25. I still got a ways to go to 25, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, and once you start fighting quest creatures, it can come pretty quick.
All right, so that's the end of my turn.
All right, so I'm on a quest of my own. I am working towards getting rid of this curse that's on me. So I'm going to travel two spots to the city of Braille.
Okay.
And I will roll my travel die. And I still have my bonus travel with the spiritual saint, but I chose not to go any further. I roll that die. I've got travel, so that gives me. I'm going to take the 10 gold.
Oh yeah, I keep reaching to get you a gold, but I don't need to do that.
Now, if you look at the city of Braille, hopefully it's updated in that travel guide, but I don't have to explore to do this. I can just pay 25. So instead of taking 10, I'm going to put back the 20 I already have and just get 5 as change.
Okay.
Because I would have had 30 gold.
Oh, and you get experience when you get there. It says if you are a priest class, you gain +2 experience and draw 1.
Oh yeah, you are correct. Thank you for that.
You get 2 experience.
So that applies when you're dual class as well. So yeah, you get that 2 experience boost and
you get a reward card. So lucky you.
And scanning that in there.
Yeah, I am. Hold on.
Awesome.
I think I didn't want to. There's only one color that the scanner really doesn't like, and it's like pink. Because we use a neon pink as a background. So this one might have like a lot of red on it or something. I don't know. I don't want to look at it because I don't want to.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to cheat. And there we go. I didn't have to look at it.
All right. So I found my first weapon of the game. I'm going to equip that. I have myself a crossbow. So I will drop that, flip it. And this is a one-handed weapon that'll give me a combat bonus of 1. So I'll take that.
Cool.
And I've cured this curse, so I'll go up by 2 more combat. 1, 2. I'll remath that all on my turn.
Yeah,
that will be the end of my turn. So I will discard card 19.
Card 19. You finally got rid of that curse.
That's right.
Wes, that's great. The mind-racking wail is finally out of your head.
Yeah, it was squealing at me. Even Serenity Lake, I couldn't shake it. I had to go to the priest.
Yeah, even when you were looking out at that nice, serene lake, it didn't help. Okay, cool. All right, so you're now away from the curse. I'm standing up. You're done, right?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to stand up at Demon Gate. And then I'm going to travel back to Exire. And I'm going to roll the dice. I got a bonus travel. Actually, no, I'm doing this slightly out of turn, but I did mean to spend 25 gold to get a reward.
Absolutely.
Everyone just trust me on that one. Okay, and then I'm going to travel back to Exire. I rolled a bonus travel, which I'm not going to use. I'm just going to take the 10 gold. And then I am going to equip a warhorse.
Ooh, nice.
So a warhorse lets me equip an additional 3 item cards, and I gain 1 travel, so I can go 3 spaces now, and I gain 2 escape, although I am not allowed to even attempt to escape anymore, so that doesn't really matter. And then while I'm in Exire, I am going to sell a large treasure, which is 25 gold. And that is my turn.
And you do have that ability that you can just get rid of 25 gold for experience.
Oh yeah, I can start buying my way up to experience. Yep.
Yeah, because you're give back to the people and get fame and fortune.
Yeah, all I do is either kill demons or give back to the people. That's my my character.
All right, so I'm hiding out in the city of Braille. I've become one with my spiritualness, Ember and Frost, and what is the other one? Swift. We're ready to continue our adventure. So we are going to travel. Actually, I have a card I can use first. So I'm going to drop this and show you. I've got this another scroll, so I can equip the scroll and use it right away. It's a one-time use card,
Ooh.
and it allows me to gain 2 experience, unless I'm a priest or wizard class, in which case I gain 3 experience.
Oh.
So I will gain 3 experience and discard card 24.
24. You got it.
All right, so that will
Scroll
bring
of
me up
knowledge.
to 15 experience. I'm becoming a force to be reckoned with here. And looking at the map, I've got 3 travel. So I'm going to make my way where?
And I think that it is worth noting at this point. One of the things that I really like about this game is Wes has now just bypassed me in the experience count.
It does happen.
Playing a very different game than me. You know, I'm out there trying to kill, and he's gathering a horde of beasts and then doing a lot of kind of I don't know what the word is, but have you even fought anyone yet?
I have ran away
Yeah.
from a creature.
Right. Yeah. It's funny how it works out that way. That's cool. I like it.
Now I am going to travel to the abandoned wastelands where the undead are constantly roaming the world, and I could explore there later if I wanted to, but I'll travel there. So that's a 1, 2, 3 movement, and roll my travel die.
All right. Let's see what cool
I'll
happens.
open that bag. I found an encounter, so I must fight this time. Maybe I'll actually not run away.
All right. So I'm gonna scan him in just so people can take a look at him. Get a good opportunity to show the art off here. Zoom in
All
on
right,
that
the
guy.
Orc Warrior.
Yeah, you should be able to take this guy down, no problem.
So if you fight this guy in the early game, he's intimidating and scary, especially when he's holding the severed head of one of his own kin.
Yeah.
But I've traveled the world and I've got some loyal companions by my side, so I feel confident and I don't suffer from that penalty. So we're going to go right into battle. He gets a meager +3. I've got this army at my side with a +17. So as long as I don't roll a 1, things are good.
Yeah.
Whoops, let's pick the right die.
That counts as a 1.
Yeah. So I've got a 10.
All right.
Critical hit if I was playing deity, but we'll slay that orc. I'll gain 2 experience, which is the book value there.
Yep.
And he's worth
reward and 10 gold.
10, so I'll just take one of these 10 I redeemed earlier, and you can throw me a card, and then I will trash card 19.
It's going to come right back in as 19.
Now, if anybody is the Necromancer character, that discard pile for the encounter deck is actually important because you can revive dead creatures.
Yeah, see, that's cool. You know, the number of classes that you start with, there are 5 to start, and then the Kickstarter is looking to unlock a couple more.
Yep.
But then remember that it's 5 starting classes and then a whole bunch of advanced classes that you can graduate to. So there's lots of very unique, weird skills that these various characters have. It's very cool.
So in my efforts to dig around in my travels, I also came across a Demon Bane sword, which will help me in my travels. So I'm going to unequip my crossbow that gave me a 1 and equip this Demon Bane sword, which will give me an additional 3 combat. So I am certainly ready to take on whatever faces my way.
And demons, too. You got to go get some demons. You and me.
Pass the turn to you.
All right. So we are demon killers. All right. I'm going to head down to the jungles of Wakan. 1,
nice.
2.
The lair of Juragan.
All right. I'm not going to go there yet. I'm going to buy a card before I start. All right. So
sounds good.
Spend 25. I'm going to buy myself a reward. And okay, right away I'm going to equip these leather bracers, which takes up a hand slot, but lets you equip yet another hand slot, so I can kind of stack these on my hand slots.
Yeah,
that gives me 1 combat rating, so I'll take it.
So you're an odd-looking hero, kind of breaking the rules because you've got a gauntlets and what did you just pick up? Leather or something?
Yeah, leather bracers, and then I have those magical gauntlets.
Oh yeah. So I guess the bracers go on your wrist and the gauntlets go on your hand, so you can envision that.
All right. Yeah, I'm not wearing like gloves on top of gloves. I have like fingerless gloves underneath hockey gloves. You know.
That's good.
All right, so I'm in the jungles of Wakan. I'm gonna roll the die, see what I get. And I got an extra travel, which I'm not going to use. I'm just going to take the 10.
Yep.
and then it's your turn.
All right, so I'm feeling kind of adventurous, and I'm ready to take down a quest creature. I feel
Oh,
tough
yes.
enough. So I'm going to go to the lair of the Lich Lord, which is at Kismatic's Keep. So that's takes 2 to move there, but I don't get to fight him this turn because I have to get there first. So I'm going to go to my dice bag and roll my travel die. And I have an encounter to fight.
All right, let's take a look at who you got this turn. And we're really in the stage of the game where the random encounters we're probably both going to be able to take down fairly easily.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of designed to just make sure that by the time you're at this point, these things are more of a nuisance than a threat, because
Right.
your goal is to take down the quest creatures that are really threatening the world.
Yeah, I mean, we're heroes now, right? Like
That's right.
We go back to the basic, rats and stuff. Like that's no big thing, right?
But they are in the way, and we out of the kindness of our souls, we're not going to leave them lying around.
All right, so a giant spider.
So he gets a chance to entrap me, and that entrapment, I don't think I get to add experience, do I? No, this one is is not as easy to dodge, so I could still get trapped by this web quite easily.
And you don't have any runaway. You don't have any runaway bonuses, do you?
I do not have a runaway bonus.
Okay, because you could add that, but if you don't have any, all right.
Yeah, so I will roll this. If I roll 5 or less, I get trapped in the web, and so do all my animals. But we managed to avoid that, so that's good. So then we will go right to combat, and I'll just roll this die. If I roll a 1 or less, I'll lose. But I've got a 4 plus 20, so I know how to fight that giant spider.
That poor giant spider rolled a 10, and then just got obliterated by like a mountainous horde of animals running over him.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can envision a wolf on either side and a Pegasus stomping his head, and then Barrick himself with his demon sword. He didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, no chance. All right, so you get 2 reward cards.
And 2 experience.
2 experience. So that is one of the things that those early monsters do. You can use them to build your character up because they do supply a lot of rewards, which is very cool. All right, so that's 24. And 28.
All right, so I'm going to pick these both up. I'm going to equip this potion of invisibility that I found in my last and only my only remaining item slot. It's an item I can use at any time, kind of like you did with your ability. So after a combat roll, if I don't like how it turns out, I can use it afterward.
Cool.
And I'm safe in Kismatic's Keep, but I can't battle until next turn. So I pass the turn to you.
All right. Well, I'm going to battle in the jungles of Wakan.
So you have to dodge the swallow, which shouldn't be too hard for you.
Okay. Yeah. I just go right to battle, don't I?
So you would say, I'm going to explore this turn, which takes you right to battle. Yeah.
All right.
And then he has his action ability. I sent you a picture of a new image of Jubergon, the true art, because the art I had in that card was temporary art from someone that let me borrow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. If I was more, I'm using all my cell phones, so if I had the ability, I would actually drop it into the stream, but I currently do not have the ability to do so.
No worries.
All right, so this guy is nasty. So at first, I do a swallow. That I have to add my XP to my roll, and if the result is less than 15, move to the Tropics of Dalmari, and my turn ends. Is that like he poops me out in the Tropics of Dalmari?
It's like he's swallowing you, and he decides he doesn't like the taste of you, so he just spits you out further down the road.
Right. Okay, so I add my XP.
Because one of the things that I introduced in this game is there's no player death. I mean, you're going to become a legend, and I had player death in the original version, and it was just devastating for the players. So
yeah.
Took it out.
Yeah, to build it all up and then lose it all. I mean, that's very sad. All right, so I get to roll, and if the result is less than 15, my experience is 14. So as long as I don't roll a tragic fail, I'm going to be fine.
Yep.
And I rolled a 4, so I'm okay. So I avoid the swallow, and now he has a 12, and I have a 12 as well.
Yep. So it's a pretty even battle, provided you don't have any bonuses to throw on top of it. But you win the first battle, so we're going right to round 2, and you've already won round 1.
Yeah, so I already automatically win round 1, and then I have the holy symbol, which I'm allowed to destroy to add 5 to myself for 1 roll.
Does it say against certain types of creatures or no?
No, it just says destroy this card from play, gain +5 for 1 roll.
There you go.
And so, do I have to do that before, or do I get the benefit of also doing that after?
You always get the benefit after the
Yes,
roll.
that's
That's
so
right.
good. That's so good. That makes me feel great. Okay, so you're gonna roll for a 12, and I'm gonna roll for a 12, and we're just going right up against each other.
He's got a big 9. This worm means business.
I'm not gonna touch that die. I'm not touching it. I want you to see it.
Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. A 10. That's a big 0. You
Yes!
got it.
Got him. All right. Okay.
Beat him by 1 point.
Took him. I get 3 experience. I get 2 reward cards. So my experience goes to 17. And I have
Nice.
defeated worm. I get 2 reward cards. And I'm going to see if there's anything I want to equip right at the end here. All right. So then I got to get to 25.
Yeah, because you now have 1 defeated quest creature, and sometimes you might want to just go and fight another one just to get the guaranteed experience.
Yeah, to buy my way, or essentially fight my way up. All right, so I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna equip this this sword of the Vaseman.
Oh, that's Kane's sword. Look at it.
Yeah, it's perfect. And then I can use it as a 1-hand or a 2-hand.
Yeah, the D&D term is a bastard sword, but
Yep.
I decided not to use the word bastard.
Right. So. Yeah, that's nice. All right, so I am going to unequip my dagger and use it as a 2-handed sword for a moment, which increases my combat rating by 1.
Yep.
Actually, by 2, because I went from a 1 to a 3. So now I'm up to 14.
And then I don't know if you gained enough experience to go up 1 more combat or not.
I'm at 17, so I am.
Yeah. You're buffing up. So you gain you gain combat both from equipment and special abilities and from experience in the game. So there's 3 different ways that you start buffing up. So when you first play the game, you think, how am I ever going to beat a +23 demon? But as right now, you're getting pretty close.
Yeah, we're getting there. What kind of class gets the benefit from going to Serenity Lake?
Any class.
Any class.
Oh, any class.
Interesting. All right, I'm going to equip this scroll of teleportation.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use that. Not right now. So.
Now, if you take a look at Silverin, you might like that place better because it's close to another quest creature that you could probably beat, and it gives advanced class characters an XP bonus.
Okay, I will take a look at that as you are doing your turn.
All right, so I have made it to Kismatic's Keep. If you can throw Kismatic on the table, I'm going to explore to face that encounter.
Let's do it. We got another quest creature going down. Oh, he looks awesome too.
And that is original art, so that is art by Andrea Butera, Kismatic.
Yeah, he looks really
devastating. So he first gets to do his anti-magical blast.
Okay.
I have to make a roll. So I'll pull out my die bag, roll this die. I roll a 3, and I add my experience, I think, right?
Yep.
Of 19, so I rolled a 22.
So if you get less than 25.
Okay, so I'm going to suffer the consequences
here. You lose the shield of all magical rewards you have equipped. Do you have? Yeah, what do you have that's magical?
So magical are the blue cards, which means temporarily I'm not going to have that or that.
Or your potion of invisibility, right?
My potion won't give me a bonus, so it's going to be a tough battle for me.
Yeah, okay.
That's a risk I took, right? Sometimes when you fight these guys, you can't always win.
Right, okay.
So if we reestablish my combat value, instead I'm going to lose 9 off whatever I had. So instead of +20, I'm going to get +11 to his +17. So I still have a chance.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but you got a chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my ability doesn't... I could escape if I wanted to, if I feel like I'm about to lose. So it's best of 3. We'll roll the first time and see what happens. I have a 10.
Okay, I'm just going to leave that. We wait a second for it to appear. I don't want any sort of hijinks to be claimed. All right, he rolled a 7.
All right, so 10 plus my 11, so I'm at 21.
And then he's at 24.
So he has defeated me in the first round. So I'm going to use my Spiritual Saint's ability that says I can escape a battle without rolling. If I do, I gain an experience. So I'm just going to fly away from Charismatic and try to come back another turn
All right.
and gain 1 experience for that.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but I'll put this equipment back on my character, and it basically I lost a turn because that, and I can't fight him the next turn because I've already explored here.
Yeah, but you did. You gained an experience. I mean, I know that's not the best at this stage of the game, but
And avoided the defeat, which is even worse. So
yeah.
that'll make it your turn, Kane.
All right. So, Kane is going to. He's going to spend 20. All right. So I have a large treasure, and it says this card may be redeemed for 25 gold at the beginning of any phase of your turn. So I'm going to do that.
Yep. So you don't have to be in a city for those ones. It's only when you're actually
nice.
selling gear.
I'm going to get the 25 gold, and then I'm going to immediately buy a reward with it.
Sounds good.
And we're going to see, hopefully, that it does something cool for me. Okay, so I'm going to... I got a Belt of Strength, so I'm going to equip that to my body.
Nice. That's a good one.
Which gets me 2 more combat. And now what's interesting is, can I then use the Sword of the Vase Man as two-handed in one hand, and then put a dagger in my other hand?
That is very convenient for you, yeah. So you are strong. That girdle gives you that extra power.
All right, that's good. I'm going to add another. I'm going to add my dagger.
I mean, Kane is so beefed up, it's not even funny.
And then I'm going to gain 1 more combat rating, so I'm at 18 on my combat rating. And then I am going to use this scroll of teleportation at the beginning of my adventure phase, and I am just going to travel directly to Silverin. And when I arrive in Silverin, I am going to gain 2 experience, so I'm at 19 experience.
So that's another location where you don't have to explore, correct?
Correct. I think it's just the first time you arrive.
Yeah, so it's a nice perk to just make your way through there, because the people of Silverin just love heroes. They live on legends and tales.
Classes. They love it. All right, so then I also get 10 gold by arriving in Silverin, and that's it. I think that's the end of my turn.
Right on. So that used up your whole explore phase? Is that how that card read?
Yeah, it uses the entire explore phase. Yep.
Gotcha. So just a way to skip across the continent. Like, look how far you went. You skipped so many points there.
A nice little a town portal scroll. If we're gonna keep talking, Diablo.
There you go. Love that town portal. I'm gonna travel to the Forest of Delusion.
Okay.
Since I got taken down Charismatic, I'm just gonna roll my travel die and run away from Charismatic. That's not my travel die.
Ooh.
I get a reward card for the first time on my travels.
Nice. So a reward card on the travels. You came upon a chest just by the side of the road.
Yeah, somebody left their belongings. Or I stole from my carcass. Who knows?
Yeah.
my dog sniffed it up.
Hard to say. Maybe your winged creature flew up into a cloud and found something up there. It's a crazy world that we're traveling in Novus.
It sure is.
Let's see. This is one that doesn't want to go in. Oh, there it goes. Every time I'm about to say
it talks to you. I didn't know it talked to you.
Oh, yeah, it does. So the app will tell you what the ID is so that you can put it on the sheet in the right place. Every game doesn't need to track cards face down, but games that do, that's how we support that.
Very good.
All right.
All right, so I am done my turn, so you may go.
Okay, so I am going to... So I assume you're gonna fight in the Forest of Delusion.
That's the main reason, yeah. I think I want to take down Sistos, the scorpion spider. So, you've seen in this game, there's not a whole lot of player versus player. It's about us trying to save the world, not kill each other. But when you're that close to one another, you're kind of impacting somebody else's ability as well. Because if I kill Sistos, you can't, because he'll be dead.
Yeah, I'm going to move 3 because I have the Warhorse. So
yes, you
I'm
do.
going to move 1, 2, 3, and get to Kismatic's Keep this turn.
Oh, are you going to slay the Lich that I couldn't defeat?
That's what I'm going to try to do, yeah. All right, I got a adventure card on my travels. Okay, and then it's your turn.
All right, so we'll lay Barrack down to explore to battle Sistos, another piece of original art by Andrea.
All right.
You should have seen the really sketchy thing that I sent him a pencil drawing of the worst drawing you could of a scorpion spider combination, and he just brought it to life so well.
Yeah, you know, when you were saying earlier when we were talking about the art, like just oh yeah, I've already talked to the artist and he's going to be able to generate me all this art. Like when I hear that, it kind of like boggles my mind because just you look at the art that's done in this game and I'm not an artist, right? So like there's no way I could even draw one of these things in like a year. But
Yeah.
you know, people like that, you know, they're talented, right? And they've worked so hard that they're good at it. They can bang this stuff out quick, which really blows my mind.
Yeah.
All right, so
As long as they're getting paid.
Yeah.
So he's going to do a venomous strike or a viscous strike. So he's going to use his scorpion tail to hit me.
all right,
I'm going to roll and add my experience. 25 is the magic number again. If I fail, I just have to discard one card. So that's not as devastating as Schismatic.
yeah, okay.
I can handle that. So 3, I add 20 to the roll of 23. So I must lose an item. I am going to lose my potion of invisibility. So I will discard card 24 from my character sheet. And then we will commence with battle.
All right. So he's got a 15.
And I have a 20, but he has a special ability.
must
He
roll
kind of
two-
invokes some
oh.
kind of delusion.
Okay.
So I have to roll 2 dice for combat, which I can do with your immense powers of your Vorpal board.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then you take
roll
the lower
2 dice
number.
at once.
Yeah.
And whatever's
right.
lowest.
What a crazy feature that we were able to add. Roll 2 dice at once. Okay.
And the concept behind Sistos is that he's kind of like a displacer beast, where even the aura of his venom is so powerful that you don't always know where he is.
Okay.
So I have to take the lower roll, which is a critical fail. So I actually lose the first round of battle.
Okay. Well, he rolled a 10 that roll anyway, so
he probably would have smoked me.
Yeah.
So a tragic fail is twice as likely when you're fighting Sistos. Just keep that in mind.
Yep.
So we're going to go to round 2. I'm not going to run away like a little child this time. I'm going to roll these dice, and I have a 2.
Okay.
And 2 plus 20 is 22 is my result.
Okay, so he rolled a 1. So you took him down in round 2.
Now, monsters don't have tragic fails, but I still would have beat him with that roll, so that's good. And
cool.
Then we're going to go on to the final round of combat.
This is the big one.
I have a tragic fail,
oh.
and with no luck token to bypass it, unfortunately, I'm defeated. So I will suffer the loss, which says
-3.
-3. So no debilitating, just a little bit of a penalty there.
You have gotten some bad luck against these quest creatures. Holy moly!
Yeah, there's a reason I wasn't fighting anything. I was just hanging out at lakes and traveling the world.
Hanging out at lakes, meeting friends, you know,
That's right.
Getting a posse together. All right, I'm going to first buy another reward card, just in case. Put in 30, take out 5. Let's see if I get something that might help me in this upcoming fight. All right, I got the Potion of Speed, which I'm going to equip right now.
We're at a pretty close game here. I mean, you're at 19 experience. I'm at, I was at 20. I'm down to 17 now. So yeah, pretty close game.
Yeah, and the games that I've played have come down to like final round type stuff every time. I don't know if that's common in your playtesting experience, but it has been for me.
It's rare to win by a landslide. I mean, it has happened where there's been a 10-point difference, but it's not very often.
Okay, so I'm going to take on Schismatic.
You're going to do his anti-magic blast, which you're much better equipped to deal with.
Yeah, so I can add a bunch of stuff to this. I add my XP, and my XP is 19. So I'll just start with that and then see if I need anything else. I rolled a 2, so I'm at 21. And then I get the helmet, so that would put me at 23. And then I get the Master of Monsters, which is 5 more.
That's
so
a good one, yeah. That 5 is huge.
28. So I bypass the anti-magic blast.
And the greatness of your paladin smotes him in round 1 of combat, so you've already beat him once.
Beat him once. So this is the turn. I have a 18, and he has a 17.
Yep. Now, does he have an ability that reduces you at all? If you had an undead ally, so the only person that would have that is the necromancer.
Yep. All right, so my roll is a 5.
Oh, I got to roll the dice.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
gotta.
All right.
I didn't critical fail.
So he has a 1, so he rolled an 18, which means I believe you're victorious.
Victorious. All right. So I get 3 experience, and then 1 magical weapon, 1 adventure card, and 15 gold.
So when it says that, it means you're gonna kind of like the encounter deck. You'll flip cards over from the reward deck until you draw the first magical item.
All right. So I'll take my other rewards, and then I will just keep flipping until I find a magical item. And I found one right out of the gate.
Excellent.
All right, and then I'm going to. I'm such an idiot. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's fine. And then I'm going to spend 25 gold right now to use that skill to gain 1 experience.
Excellent.
I'm going to give some money back.
Give back to the people.
Baby. I love the people. I'm up to 23, and that is the end of my turn.
Well, with my animal companions after this round of defeats, I'm going to take a little trip to Silverin. So I'll just move over 1, and I'm going to hope to roll a random encounter.
Okay, so you're at Silverin, which gets you 2 experience, right? Because you haven't been there?
Yeah, but not till the end of my adventure phase. So first I roll my travel die. I get an adventure card.
Okay. Silverin. Yeah, I got to remember Silverin for my next game. Get over there once you get to that advanced class and get some free experience, right?
Well, you know what makes me excited, James, is the fact that you just said that you want to play another game of this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think, this is one, my 4-year-old is too young, but I have a daughter who is 6 who has been watching me over the last few days, like mess with this a lot. And I think I think with some coaching, she would be able to make it through.
Yeah, I mean, I played this when I first designed this game. My stepdaughter was only 11, and she got onto it quite quickly.
Yeah.
So
you also get.
So I'm going to gain my 2 experience for safely traveling there, and I get 1. Or is it 10 gold?
10 gold. Yes, 10 gold.
All right. So then I'm at the end of my turn. I've only got 25 gold, so I'm not raking in the dough. But what I can do is sell these 3 pieces of equipment for 10, 20, 25 points or gold pieces. So I'll take that. So I'm going to trash card number 29, 28, and 27.
You've just been getting a lot of stuff you can't use?
I don't need it. I've got my beautiful sword to keep me company.
Oh, yeah. You have that sweet sword.
And so that gets me up to 50 gold. So with 50 gold, at least I'm going to get rid of that 50 gold just to get 1 more experience. You see, it cost me twice as much money as you because I'm not a paladin.
Yep.
But that's okay, because now I'm up to 20 experience, and it's your turn.
See, I'm not in a city, so I can't sell any of this stuff. I would love to. So I'm going to ride my warhorse to Silverin. 1, 2, 3. Hey, buddy. It's really good to see you. And we have a real kind of standoffish moment because we're both almost the Legend of Novus, but not quite.
It's taken all my willpower to hold these animals back.
Right. That's exactly right. Okay, so I'm going to hope for a random encounter on my drive here.
Yep.
And I got travel bonus.
Take that 10 gold.
So I'm going to take my 10 gold, and then I'm going to use... I'm going to spend 25 gold to earn an experience.
You were so close. 24 now. Look at that.
24. And then I'm going to sell some stuff to make sure I can buy my way to victory next turn.
Yeah, because his power isn't restricted. So the normal sell power is restricted, but the paladin, you can gain your fame that way.
So the paladin is just going to sell his his belt of strength, his legendary belt of strength.
Oh, he's giving it up for the people.
Yep, he's letting. They were building a temple, and he gave it to the foreman that was building the temple so that he could carry the bricks over his head. And he gets
It's quite the tell.
but he does get 15 gold for it. He knows a good deal. He doesn't give it away.
Right.
So I end up with Kane used to be a fighter before he became a paladin. So all right. So I have 25 gold. I'm gonna end my turn, and it's your turn, Wes.
All right, so what do we have here? I have an opportunity here. So I'm at 20 experience, which means I only need 5 experience to win. There's a chance I could draw an adventure card that will break some of that gap. So I can do that by exploring. And then I have an encounter card in my hand for the second part of the explore phase. So who knows what can happen? We're going to tip my guy over, explore, and draw that top adventure card.
Okay. You got Guided by Faith.
Yes.
So that's a action card, or an event card, which will go to you. I actually realized after the fact, Wes, that I could have won that turn.
Yeah.
I have a quest for Silverin that I forgot to play. The quest for glory.
That sounds like a paladin who's full of himself must have just overlooked.
I got distracted by the temple they were building, and I was like,
Right.
I forgot about my quest. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well,
So you got that.
I'm still in the
event.
middle of my adventure phase, but I have an action event. So if you look at that action event, it has an exclamation point, which means it can be played at any time in the game.
Okay.
So I'm going to play that just so I can get 1 experience.
All right.
So that will bring me up to 21, and I'm going to get an extra 2 combat for this turn.
Okay.
Now, instead of drawing a second card, I'm going to drop this card.
Oh, you got an encounter. You got your encounter.
I'm going to play a random encounter, and if I can find an encounter that's worth 4 experience, I mean, that would win me the game. Chances are slim because I don't.
Yeah, I have some bad news. It's a pathetic skeletal knight. We'll actually scan him in so you can take a look at him.
Well, I may not be able to beat a Lich Lord, but I can defeat a skeleton.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we really even need to go through the rigmarole. You could roll the fail. All right, so I'm zoomed in on that art. That's original art? Yeah.
That is original art.
Yeah, very
that
cool.
Skeleton Knight. Yeah. Really good work with the arrow through the head by Andrea. I love that
like
one.
It.
I'll roll that die. I rolled a 2 with plus my 20 combat. So 22, I really showed the skeleton who's boss.
And you would
gain
1 experience and get so close.
1 experience, and he gives me a reward card.
1 reward card.
There are some creatures that give you adventure cards, so there was still a chance I could have drawn an adventure card that would give me experience.
An immediate event or something?
That did not happen.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm going to quit my holy water into my turn because I can. And it will be your turn.
And then I'm just going to buy 1 experience.
You did it.
I gave away my last dollar like a good paladin, and I got the 25 experience. So Kane,
that was
ultimate paladin of Exire.
It was anybody's game. You got it. I mean, I took a few losses from some major creatures. You forgot that you had that quest.
Oh, yeah. So. I did have this quest for glory. You know, what's funny is a few turns ago, I was like, I got to ride back to Silverin, play that quest, and the game's over. And then somewhere between that moment and the current moment, I completely forgot that it was in my hand. But I probably should have ended with the quest for glory, just because that. You
should slide that character sheet over. Show people what you did with that knight, because that's impressive. You've got a war horse, you've got a sword, you've got a helmet.
Oh yeah, it's a real mess of stuff here that we got piled on. Let me get some of the stuff out of the way.
So, like you said, by the end of the game, you can really envision what your character looks like.
Yeah, I like
and
it because it kind of
the boards
feels
themselves
like
are actually dual layer, so where your trackers might have been sliding around, the dual layer board prevents that. So that's actually part of the core game.
All right, yeah, that's neat. Okay, I didn't know. I thought I had seen some photos on your Kickstarter page that showed it as dual layered, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
So the game board you have is from Print and Play Ad Magic, and they don't have that option. Or if they did, it would have been uber expensive. But the final production would have that.
Cool. So the game comes packed in with 4 of these really nice big boards that let you build out your characters, and 5. Oh, so it's
5.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
It's a 1 to 5 player game.
Okay, I actually didn't know that because I always thought it was just up to 4 because of the 2v2. but you can go to 5.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. So you can play with all 5 classes of the standard
Yep.
classes, and then with the what I assume will be successful stretch goals, you'll end up with potentially 7 classes in the box.
Potentially, yeah. If Morty gets discovered and Jotun the Barbarian gets unlocked,
Yeah,
absolutely.
very cool.
And those would be Kickstarter exclusives because if the game ever did get published, it would be without those characters.
Okay,
Those are
okay,
just
cool.
some fun for Kickstarter.
Yeah, I love it. So I Wes, I got to say, I really enjoy this game. I think when I'm sort of playing stuff this way and like doing these videos and stuff, like I know it's tough to know if the guy you're talking to right now is like being serious with you, but like this is one that I've really enjoyed. I've played it with my family already a couple times, and we're kind of bummed to send it back to you because we are going to send it back to you. But I think what this really works for me is watching this video. You know, we played it in like 90 minutes ish.
With a lot of explanations.
With a ton of explanation. Like a game, when you sit down and play it, you can play it in a 2-player game, I'd say an hour or under, which is cool because you have an adventure in an hour that lets you build up a little character, lets you explore an advanced character class that you have not played before. Because even if you play this game 20 times, you're not hitting every single advanced character class. I think it's like 16 advanced character classes, right? Am I doing the math there right?
So you've got your 5 base characters,
Yep.
and then there's a total of 10 advanced class.
Okay.
And then who knows what some of those hidden stretch goals might be. Hint, hint.
Right. Yeah. So, but the thing is that, you know, like, so you have at least 10 plays with all the different advanced character classes. And every single game is very different when you're playing against another hero on the other side. So I never played against a paladin, so I'd never seen anybody rack up a horde like this with the allies, which is
the
cool.
Druid, yeah.
So I think this is a game that my family would enjoy and my gaming group would enjoy because we play a lot of campaign style games, which are sometimes
you mentioned you play Gloomhaven, and if you just think how much time do you have to spend even setting up Gloomhaven?
a lot of time. You know, like the amount of hours that I personally have spent setting up Gloomhaven, I don't even really want to think about it. But you know, like as a game that you can play as a one shot and as a introduction to, I do like your idea of like an introduction to role playing in general. It's kind of like a guided role playing game, which is cool. I think I think that you, and like frankly, I've only seen a third probably of each of these decks. There are tons of monsters I haven't seen. There's tons of adventure items I haven't seen. So no, I think for both the price you're asking and sort of like the time commitment of the game, this is a really sweet spot for me that I could play this style of game one-off without having to say, oh man, am I going to commit to playing 10 missions of this game over the next month or whatever? So no, I think this is really cool. I enjoy it, and I'm very happy that you shared it with us. So thank you.
Yeah, had a great time playing with you, James, and have you had a chance to fight Monsignius yet? He's the biggest, baddest baddie of them all.
I haven't. You know, I'm the kind of player. So like with Gloomhaven, I haven't even I haven't opened up any of the boxes or anything. You know, so like everything still has, because in that game you have to unlock new characters by retiring old characters, and so all my new characters all still have their stickers on them, and boxes haven't been opened. So I don't even know what they are. You know, so I'm the type of person who just refuses to look through any of the content because I want to have it be a surprise, but I want to take a look at him.
So he's another piece of original art. That was the red dragon that I requested him to create for me, and he did a great job with that piece. It's one of the ones that I use to promote the game quite a bit, just because people relate to dragons when it comes to D&D based games.
All right, so I'm looking at him now. All right, so you have to do an XP roll. He's flying, so you can't escape the battle. And he's got 25. Man.
Yeah. He could get that extra 5 because it's pretty hard to beat his ability too, unless you're stacked like your knight was.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. That's the second time that I've played where I've just gotten like a skill that's really matched what character I was playing. I was playing as Vin, the thief, and I got like I think it's like Master of Coin that lets you get a bonus when you sell. And so like I was just like pickpocketing and getting reward cards and selling those reward cards, and I just built like a huge fortune super duper quick. which was neat. You know, it's nice to find those little synergies when you're playing a character class.
Yeah, and there's only 7 skills in the game, so I mean, there be games you go through like mine where you just don't get a skill, but then you
Right.
make up for it with other cards. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a
Very
lot of
cool.
diversity there.
So, uh, what's the actual end date of the campaign? Is it
So
the
we have 6
11th?
days left. It ends next Friday.
Next Friday. All right. So next
Yeah.
Friday is
So,
the end.
or I guess this Friday if you want to look at that, because Friday's this Friday, so one Friday from now.
Okay. So a week from today.
You got it. Yeah.
So if you haven't backed it yet and you're interested, definitely check it out. They're in the 100% plus range. So now we're going for stretch goals. Is there anything else that you want to plug, mailing lists or Facebook groups or where to follow you?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to www.legends.novus.com. So just as the game title is, and you can find all the different links in there anyway to the Facebook group or to my email or whatnot. So by all means, go to that website and you'll see all of the actual original art is on that campaign page. So if you go to the art gallery, you can see these images up close and personal on your high definition computer and really see what this game has to offer. And part of the Kickstarter is the option to buy an art book. So if you really are just into it for the art, that's an option for you. And then the other part I thought I'd mention is for those D&D fans that are out there, my campaign includes a bonus D&D 5e adventure just to show people what this could be like as a campaign world, because that's a potential spin-off down the road.
Very cool. And then what is your? I always ask, like, you know, this is your game, right? So what was your, you know, your experience playing it this way? You know, like, is this something that you think is a viable thing that you'd want to use with other people?
Yeah, so we take a look at Vorpal board, and I'm a huge fan of Tabletop Simulator
Okay.
in
Yep.
regards to play testing games and to playing with people across nations. And what you've done is you've created a way that somebody who owns a game can play with somebody who doesn't without having to each spend $20 and play on some kind of clunky digital version of it. So I really like what you've done there. And the quality of the images is great. I mean, you can create those permanent images like you did with my character board. So that's always there, and the way that you can just layer in actual scans of the card. And on my end, I'm able to zoom in and see those and see that. I mean, as you know, I'm a big fan of the art. When I zoom, my whole screen becomes Barrack. My whole screen becomes Sistos or Monsignius, and it's just really cool how I can feel like I'm in the game with your application here. So that's awesome. And during this entire time, our voices have been going through fine. I haven't seen any lag, and just really felt like I could use this as a designer, but also as players, because oftentimes people don't stay where they make friends. Their friends go to, I mean, any friend that I've ever had lives in a different city than I live in now. So
Yeah.
if I really wanted to get a game in, I can picture doing it this way.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, that's really the goal. I mean, we try to make it just as like essentially whatever you put on the board, you kind of see, right? So trying to
Yeah.
make it so if you got a game that just came in the mail from Kickstarter or something, maybe it goes on Tabletop Simulator someday, right? Maybe, or maybe you have to
Yep.
sit down and do it yourself, which is like kind of worst case. Or you could just like open the box and start throwing it on the table and be
Yep.
able to kind of play through it. So yeah, always these kind of Kickstarter prototypes are like a good test case, right? Because this is a game that doesn't exist yet, right? So there's only a few copies of this in existence,
Yep.
and being able to with zero setup time be able to play it is kind of our goal. So yeah, definitely thanks for being a test guinea pig here.
Well, it's been awesome. I
Yeah.
really appreciate the chance to try it out. I did look at your Kickstarter after it ended because I didn't happen to
Yeah.
see it while it was live, but really liked what you had to offer, and I'll definitely be supporting it when it comes around again. So, and then
Cool. I
how long?
appreciate it.
When are you doing the relaunch? Do you got a
Well,
plan for that?
we're not 100% committed quite yet to a relaunch. We're doing some. We did like a survey after the failed Kickstarter and just sort of got like a
Yeah.
ton of feedback from the backers about things they'd like to see or features or changes to both the structure of the campaign but also the feature set of the software. And so
Right.
we're doing a bunch of R&D on our end. And enhancement to make sure that we can do some of the things we want to be able to do. And then after that, we'll make the decision of how we want to bring it to market. We're kind of
Yeah.
weighing the idea of a Kickstarter or just sort of like launching a soft beta where people can start
Yeah.
using it in a wider group, because we do have a very functional beta, which is what we played tonight.
Right.
It's not perfect yet. It's not where we want to get it to, but like definitely usable. And so we're considering kind of opening that up as a first step. We're not sure yet. So
And you can connect this to any mobile device. Is that how it works?
yeah, so the apps are the ones that I'm running are both Android apps,
Yep.
and then the
Because
iOS
they'll make
version.
anything, right?
Yeah, they'll take anything. That's exactly right. Yes, we had no problem getting it up there,
Yeah.
even in like total beta form. But then there will be an iOS version as well, so you can use iPhones, and then it just runs in a browser. That's one of the things I think people don't sometimes realize when I stream is like I'm not streaming any other software. It's just all in the browser, including these chat windows. So these video chat windows are just in a website. So,
Yeah.
anyone you play with can just go to vorpalboard.com and connect to the game session. Our intention there is that like if I want to have my kids play with like their grandparents, so my parents,
Yeah.
my parents aren't going to install software on their computer or like have a computer that's able to handle hard stuff or whatever, right? So if my
Yeah.
kids want to play code names with grandma and grandpa, they can just do that, and my parents just go to a website and log in, and it all works. So we're trying to make it
Yeah,
as
and
like
it's so much better than something like FaceTime, right? Because you're actually doing something instead of
yes,
just trying to come up with things to talk about. Like you can play, even if it's checkers. I mean, you can play checkers and it'd be just as fun.
yeah, because I mean, anybody who's ever tried to like talk to a young child on FaceTime, they just like wander off after 2 seconds, like but because they are they want to go get a toy to show you or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
so letting them be able to do something like we kind of even tried to like brand it as like FaceTime plus board game equals Vorpal
Yeah.
board, because we're trying to do that one sentence description of what we've built. And
Yeah, that tagline. Yeah.
yeah, and FaceTime is something that everybody ubiquitously knows what it is. So sort of saying like, oh, you can FaceTime, but you also can play a board game. And let me tell you, like a game like Legends of Novus is about as hard as it comes for this system, right? There's a lot of card scanning. We scanned in at least 2 cards every single turn. We had to be
Yeah.
copying items. You have to be able to layer items on top of each other. And then there's a lot of text on the board itself. When you play something basic, right, it's insanely easy. This is, this and games like Gloomhaven are about as hard a challenge. So I like to play games like this. This is the first time we've ever done. This is the first time I've ever played Legends of Novus using Vorpal board. So I always have a little bit of nervousness, like, is it going to work well? But yeah, I think it played fairly well. So
Yeah, everything I needed to know, you were able to draw and play and deliver, and
so cool.
just worked out great.
So definitely let me know as you guys are closing out the campaign if there's anything you can need from me. And then everybody on the stream, we are going to be back on Monday streaming our normal team stream, the Vorpal board team stream. I don't know what we will be playing on Monday yet. We always play something a little bit different and try stuff out. And then next week, I am going to be featuring the upcoming game from Button Shy. They have a game that's coming onto Kickstarter called Seasons of Rice, and we're going to be playing that a few rounds on Vorpal board. So that will be next Friday, a week from today. And if you haven't yet, go check out the Legends of Novus Kickstarter. So thank you, Wes, for being a fantastic representative of Canada for the stream tonight. But
Woo!
it was the day after the 4th of July, so the U.S. took it down, but it was very close.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a close.
It was a good one, and good luck with the rest of your campaign. And thanks a lot.
Yep. Thank you very much. Have a
All right.
wonderful day.
Good
Bye.
night, everybody.